Click in.
Sorry. That's sort of. Do you know what the start is sort of indicated by the clapping?
Yeah. Is that a constant?
Yeah.
You'll just keep going all the way through.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've got you on. I'm really hyped. I am. And this is the bit where I'm going to be nice and where you're going to be annoying. But I think we use in the world of the internet, we use terms like insane. We use it and something isn't insane.
We use it a lot.
I'm trying to think of other things. Basically, what I'm saying is legend gets thrown about a bit, right?
Done it. You're not going to say it.
No. I'm definitely going to say.
Continue to do that now.
Yeah. If anyone is a legend that we've had on, I would say this is the biggest legend moment we've got.
I'm with you.
So you've got a long way to go. That's good to know.
It's good to know you've got the exact comment that I thought you were going to come up with.
It's good to know you've got a trajectory.
You can't win.
No, you can't win.
Well, I just don't believe it. That's why.
I seriously. Why don't you believe it? How can you not believe it?
I don't think any. I think anyone who hears that said about themselves probably doesn't.
Why else would I have had Maguras? Why did I get my parents to buy me Magura? Hey, this is I've got a good point that you're going to struggle to answer. I reckon.
I don't think you have.
Why did I used to want a Volvo, dude?
Well, one, they're really great vehicles.
Please tell me.
I can tell you all about the 850 and the XC cross country.
Why did I want my parents to take me to Newbury so I could hop on some rocks on my bike? Just explain to me if you're not.
Newbury's a sick place to ride trials. That's just a fact.
Is that right?
There we go. Yeah.
It actually isn't. It's actually.
Is that where you grew up? You grew up in
Newbury?
I
grew up. Well, I'm from Windsor, and I grew up in Newbury, and that's where I'd, go out do trials. We used to go out at night and ride trials. If there was no orange lights on, I wouldn't go out.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? You have to go out at night.
Do you remember orange street lights?
It's like people with the angry dogs.
It is though, isn't it? Trials. Weirdly, I thought about this the other day because most of your downhillers will have realised who I am and clicked off now anyway. So it's another trials episode.
Self-deprecation has to stop.
It has to stop at some stage.
But right, seriously, I used to think, everyone trials riding can be a bit geeky, can't it? But I actually say the word with actual pride. It really does mean pride in my heart when someone asks me what I am, because I heard the other day someone on here say they were a biker. I don't know who it was.
Maybe the minister.
I was like, yuck. What
biker,
a word.
yeah.
Biker. I think it was Brendan.
Yeah, he said biking. Yeah,
biker.
yeah.
And I was like, really? Oh my goodness.
Biker.
And I'm a trials rider. And there you go. There goes all the downhillers. They just left.
Dude.
No.
You're wrong. And also
cool
it makes
guys
you more
have
of an actual legend. The fact that you were unwilling to accept. Don't you agree? You're only making it worse, dude.
No, I honestly don't. I just think it's a load of nonsense. I really do. It's an honest opinion. It's just an honest opinion.
Okay,
I think because I've met real
legends.
I've met real people who are real legends.
List them.
Valentino Rossi. That's
there.
Steve Pete.
Yeah, legend.
See, you just. I think you're unaware. I think actually it comes down to a lack of awareness.
It's realism.
Okay, young version of Davey and myself.
Yeah.
What did we have to consume mountain biking?
I mean, you're the MBUK generation, right? Like, yeah.
Who was in MBUK?
Steve Pete. You're right.
Legend. Who else was in MBUK?
Well, they had to fill the pages with so they had
won't do it.
They're like, but there was lots of us in MBUK. There was loads of people in MBUK.
Mate,
there was loads of people in MBUK.
Why do I remember the Volvo then? Why do I remember the Maguras, the Cannondale? Why do I remember these things, Martin? You have to understand. Impact.
I'm not unaware of the sponsorship stuff works. Thank God, for all of us. Yeah. But it's just kind of like it all gets. If I'd have been buying MBUK in those days and I wasn't lucky enough to have had like Steve Bear living near me and taking my photo all the time and whatever, I would have been, isn't it? Isn't that the truth? I mean that is literally the truth. Yeah. I'd have been buying Maguras and loving Volvos too because it'd have been someone else. And I'm as influenced by everything I see like that too, just like anyone else. It's just that it gets exploded beyond, like when words are said about that, as nice as it is, don't get me wrong, I am self-deprecating, I guess, but it's not like I don't like it. I love to feel like I've had an impact. That's fantastic. I'm certainly not like, oh, stop it, I can't stand it. My wife and child would be like, he needs a round of applause to get up in the morning. Do you know what I mean? I'm like so full of myself, but and I really am. I'm not a shy person. So, but it goes to a place where you're just like, deep down, you know, it's gone beyond what's true about yourself. Because I don't like me any more than everyone else likes themselves. I've got lots of things I hate about myself. And when someone says you're a legend or whatever like that, even saying it sounds so ridiculous. You sort of go, in your head, the word goes, I'm not. Because I'm not. I'm not a legend.
You are.
I'm a fucking dickhead.
If you accepted it too willingly, I'd be uncomfortable and I'd probably stop saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I have met some people who do take it on that sort of thing, and it is a little bit, it's a bit off-putting.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
But
I've got terror. Do you know what, lad?
It's hard to relate, though. That's the thing. It's so hard to relate.
I'm really struggling with something which is really funny. Is usually I have to talk down the barrel.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, are we going to look at the cameras? Or I feel
No,
like
dude,
I don't do I?
You can do what you want, mate.
I don't look at the
Legend.
cameras.
it would be so weird if we're talking at you and then you're just looking down the barrel answering. It'd be like that. That would be so weird.
It's so funny.
But we could do that. It'd be
I've
like
been damaged by
I've
the
never done
dirt
that.
show.
it'd be like you'd be a field reporter. You know what I mean?
I just feel at home looking down the barrel.
Yeah.
Because I know my friends are the other end.
Yeah, they are.
Do you know what I mean? You know they're there and you just can talk to them. I love it a little bit.
I've never done the barrel.
Sorry,
I really struggle with the barrel.
Do
I
you?
don't know where to look. Where do you look? Do you look
straight
through it?
Straight down it.
Yeah.
Because
so-
the people
like
the
it.
other end, they're there, aren't they? If they're there,
Yeah.
they're loving it.
Yeah.
They might
Or they're about to click off and you don't need to worry about it.
No,
But if
don't click
they're
off
loving
yet.
it and they're staying, then I love them back
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like it gives you means we can all do this crazy stuff, doesn't it?
I'm
Which
at-
is also. Oh, can I show you about the thing I was thinking about in
Yeah,
the car?
yeah, please.
So I
Is it
listened.
bumholes? No.
No, we'll get to
okay,
bumholes.
No, we won't.
We've I feel like we've got the IP on that now, so we should maybe go and do some
I
scientific
think so.
tests on bumholes and work out if they barcode or
I
QR
100%
code.
agree.
If they QR code, we are fucking
QR.
onto something.
I think they QR.
You reckon?
guys,
And I think
guys
it's
are involved.
encrypted
Encrypted QR bumhole.
with smell.
Bum-
Let's not do it yet.
Bumhole
Let's not do it.
encryption is a thing.
This is going to be the best podcast ever.
Yeah.
I know it.
It's not.
It is.
So on the way here, I thought, I'll listen to some because there's some episodes of yours I hate to say I've missed a couple of them, and I really wanted to listen to the most recent one of Bernard Kerr because I love Bernard Kerr on your shows.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I listened to that, and then I thought, how weird is it? I mean, not weird. How lucky I felt driving here to come and do what I was listening to. Because think of all the people. Imagine how much one of your followers and fans and that would love to come and do. I was like, man, life's
very
wild
kind.
sometimes, isn't it?
That's very kind.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
driving along.
okay, I'm
listening
not
to a
willing to
podcast
accept that.
I'm about to go and do.
Yeah.
Like, this is
No,
stupid.
I'm not playing your game. I'm not willing to accept that. No.
Well, I wasn't
Hang on a
on
minute,
the
you're
Bernard
doing-
Kerr one, so I can just be like,
You're doing what
I
you
feel
just
like
criticised
Martin.
me
Yep.
for.
On purpose, a little bit, but also because I'm not willing to accept it. No, you're going too deep into the self-deprecation that you've tried to encrypt it with bumhole encryption, and I'm not going to allow you.
Well, you won't be able to get in and find out if that's true.
Right,
Unless you show me your bumhole.
Look down the barrel.
So I don't mind. You won't be able to find out if that's true or not.
Dog, you're going to have to edit loads of this.
You don't edit, do you?
Yeah, big
No,
time. Big time.
don't edit any out.
Beep out what he just said, so it makes it look like he said something controversial.
Yeah, don't edit any out. No.
That's a good title as well.
We have to
Right,
stop.
that's
We have to stop on the
controversial.
Dirt Shed show.
Unedited.
Yeah, we have to stop on the Dirt Shed show loads because you just say such stupid shit in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Especially when
Yeah.
you're actually
It's
hanging
like
out
our
with
whole
your mates.
podcast,
Like, you're
isn't
just
it?
hanging out with your mates. and you just
yeah,
go,
the creator,
we seem
like
to
whoever it
not.
is, Jack, Leo, Louis, Matt, Joey, who else is there? Oh, there's so many people in there. Whoever's there, they're all so used to us. They'll just be like, they'll give us a look, and you can tell, like, we're going to need to do that again because you
This
just
is a heavy edit episode.
yeah, you say such crazy bollocks. They'd be able to count, like what's happened with old brand, they'd be able to cancel us
Ashton
in a moment.
brand.
If they showed some of the stuff we say laughing and joking, because it's like
it's
mates.
Yeah.
It's two mate, like me and Blake.
Well, you can
We'll
take
say the
anything
most
out of
outrageous
context.
shit to each other.
Can't you? You can take anything out.
Yeah, if you put that in, if you just put that out there, like something Blake said to me at some point, Jesus, or vice versa.
context
People
is
just
very
wouldn't.
important,
People wouldn't
isn't it?
understand. They'd be like,
Dude,
"Why would you
definitely.
ever say that?" And you're like, "Yeah, but I said it 3 hours into a conversation that has grown about buttholes being QR codes." You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
That is a bit of the thing with the brand thing, though, isn't it? Is they can take those jokes that it's done over the years and just like play that little snippet, and you're like, "Oh, what an arsehole."
To be fair, to go on record, I feel Russell Brand's a wrong one, but it's just
Yeah. Let's just clear that.
just putting that out there. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he's Anyway, I'm not.
We're
gonna say
not
anything else.
apologising for Russell Brand.
I'm definitely not apologising for
No,
Russell Brand.
but yeah,
No.
you can. I mean, yeah. God, there's so many.
And I told you, I got a first-hand story. I keep looking down the barrel. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Les.
it's okay.
I like it. Please do it. I like it.
Yeah, I gave you that first-hand story, so I know he's a wrong one.
Yeah.
Better not.
And now,
No, we'll not put that in there.
can you look down
Maybe
the
if you
cat?
cut a bit out, that might be the
Can't
bit.
believe he abused you. Yeah, Russell Brand abused Martyn Ashton in the 90s
Yeah,
at
it
Bike
isn't-
Live.
Yeah,
So you take that out of context.
it isn't funny. I don't know why you're laughing. How do you think I ended up in this chair?
Russell.
You're actually gonna. I don't even know what we edit out anymore.
Well, if you edit out wheelchair jokes, you're not going to have a very long podcast because mine are all heavily based on
Are they?
wheelchair abuse.
Would you say that's your
Actually,
that's
that
your
is-
humour?
Yeah, I'm
category?
awful. And all of my mates at work, who are amazing about me being in a chair. There's like everybody on the off-road crew are amazing. I'm lucky. It's good to be able to say that on camera actually, because they're all. There's not a dickhead on our. You know what I mean? Like you could be in a group of there's probably like 20 people on our floor, and you could have a
20
dickhead.
people in the world.
We
You'd
haven't
think
got a
there'd
dickhead.
There'd be a
That's
clanger,
nice.
wouldn't you? You'd think there'd be
They're
a
all
throwaway.
mountain bike riders or from bike riding of some kind, and they're all like just legit fun, and they'll let me be a total prat about my situation because that's what makes me feel more comfortable. And sometimes that can make them feel uncomfortable because I'll go a bit too far and they're laughing and they don't know if they should laugh. And I'm like, laugh.
Yeah.
We're going to get something out of it. Let's fucking laugh. You're like, so.
All the best jokes end and you go, laugh.
Yeah, like you can. Well, yeah, I mean, I do take it too far. I do. I definitely do. I go
sure
too
you
far.
don't,
And then that
Martyn, you're a
means they start to think, yeah, I feel like they might go and meet someone else in a wheelchair and say something I think's funny. And then they'll go,
Oh yeah, repetition would be tough. Yeah.
if they said it to someone else, they may not. I would not recommend that.
But they might have found it that funny.
Some of it is so stupidly funny, though. It is. It just is.
I remember
Sometimes
going out
humour
for
comes
dinner
out.
years ago with two people that worked in. They might have worked in a morgue, and their humour was
got
dark
to
with
be
a
there.
capital D. But it was like
mate.
the only way we can get through our day is literally just to have fun with it all.
Yeah.
Just talk about it, and
You've
It's
got
a
to.
funny old thing being on in any way on a camera or in any way. Well, you've been doing it for years. You've been like public facing, but you have.
Only,
All right,
yeah,
how
in
about
mountain
this?
biking, yeah.
Right, I'm going to get this on track, right?
please.
So, back when I was a giant Martyn Ashton fan, by the way, I still am, but back then I was really, really like you were.
Bet you had a giant.
You and
though, didn't
Martin, and it was always Ashton, it wasn't Hawes. Ashton, right? That's a fact. I'm looking down the barrel. That's a fact.
you? But he was the funny one. He's bloody funny.
Yeah, I'm sure he's.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
bloody
I was an
funny.
Ashton fan. Right,
Yeah.
so back then, we didn't have all of these avenues of internet, podcast, this, TikTok, that, all of these different. You were one of the guys in MBUK, like we were talking about. And with that comes a huge amount of responsibility. And I think what actually in the UK, what we should be mega thankful for, and the reason we got such a strong riding scene is that we could have had wrong-uns. We could have. And we didn't. We had you, we had Petey, we had Warner.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But like, yeah, but it's.
wrong un's in not the way it sounds.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's definitely a good crew, but there was
I
there was
feel
some
so
brilliant
lucky.
there was
Yeah,
some
you're
brilliant
right.
people.
And
There was some
like as
brilliant
I've got older, I've got to meet. Somehow I've got to meet all these people, and they are as amazing as what I thought they were as a kid.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's to think that, younger us, I'm not going to say any ages because we don't want to offend anyone, but like a young us, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, I don't know, to think we're sat here now talking to Martyn, to me, just one of those moments then just like, dude, fuck,
that's just time. That's just time.
No,
isn't it?
That's just
timing.
But it's the influence as well. And it's
but I always think, like, if in sport particularly, I guess maybe not in all sports, but I think it's definitely true of bike sports. If you meet anyone that is, to all of us who are watching it, whatever, and if you're looking at Supercross or whatever, or MotoGP or something like that, most of the people you meet who are good at it, they're going to be very, very similar to you because they're doing it and they're doing the thing you like. So it's sort of, it would be weird if you met like Steve Pete and he was a total prick, because it would be like, well, why would he be doing the thing you like? Because, he's going to be very similar to you, isn't he? And he is. You meet Steve Pete and Steve's just like, he couldn't be more normal. He couldn't be more normal.
Yeah, you're right.
Because he is. There
are
normal.
Some out there that definitely don't seem to have a reputation like you or Steve or Warner or whatever. There's definitely some out there. They're not all good uns.
I actually think
There's
you're wrong.
Bad uns, yeah.
This is go on then. And this name is one. I bet you can't name one. Or won't.
And won't is the answer. But the right. So you've lived. I'll tell you a good story.
But I don't know.
But you've lived as so back then. I've been to the bike show many a times to watch you, and I know how big those crowds were, how many people, everyone knew you were. Those things have an effect on people, and it can go either way. And then to do like decades of that and still be self-deprecating and still be able to be. Yeah,
but I feel like there was a bit where I wasn't self-deprecating. So I definitely would have been.
Right, let's get to that. Right.
I mean, when, like, the bike shows, because it was nutty, wasn't it, back then? It was... we haven't really got it. No, I don't know. I feel like because there was no other way to get it. Yeah. So that was just like this massive 3-day moment at the NEC in Birmingham. And if you're not in the UK, that's a really big venue for shows. And
it was massive.
It was nuts. Me and Horsey used to have a security guard to get across the hall. Wow. Like, it was bonkers. And I feel like there's probably videos, like, I'm sure on one of the videos, it's not the one where we dress up. It's the one...
Tricks and stunts, get a grip.
No.
Always carry on.
No, the other one, Chain Spotting, I think it is. There's one where I'm interviewed, right? And I'm really arrogant in it. I hate it. I've seen it not long ago, actually. And I'd love to go back and slap that kid because he's so full of himself. And he's like, but
why wouldn't
but I was really young, and people were giving me cars, and I was getting paid to ride around on a bike, and everyone was telling you were great, and you maybe at that age it's quite easy to believe it. So I don't think I was self-deprecating then.
But you weren't believing anything. That was the world
weird.
Then, wasn't it?
It was weird. I feel like the UK mountain bikers of that time had a very strange experience because something was happening for us that maybe wasn't happening anywhere else in mountain biking. It was just the vibe of the MBUK thing, and then something happened where the people who grew up through MBUK through dirt suddenly had somewhere to go as well, so it stayed cool. Like MBUK was cool at one point because it was the access point, but then it could only serve you only serve you so far if you knew the sport. You'd get to a point where you're like, yeah, right, you're saying the same thing you said 2 issues ago, because they're still trying to provide for the person who's picking it up for the first time. Very hard job for that mag to do, and it did it amazingly well. But because of the British scene, you could grow beyond it. There was just this timing thing that happened, and suddenly there was somewhere else to go with it, and you were suddenly cool because you were into the stuff that the MBUK guys didn't know about, the newbies, And I feel like there was just a weird thing going on in that time where we all just like
but also
rock. It was like being a rock star. It was so weird. It was so weird.
Well, I think back then they were probably selling near on 200,000 copies of MBUK a month.
It was mad. It was mad. It was the biggest bike mag in the world, and any video they put out that year would be the biggest mountain bike video of the year, and it all just felt so easy because it was just happening, and it was just oh, I guess that's how it happens. But it wasn't happening anywhere else. It was just like people becoming sort of mega stars.
With that, the UK was ahead of like the States, which usually seems to be especially now, is like 6 months, a year ahead.
I don't know if it was ahead, but it had something that nowhere else had.
Right.
And I don't know if that
Buzz.
was just the mix of just like
Maybe
the
because America's
coolness
bigger
of
as well,
like
it gets
Stevie
lost.
and Warner were just
Yeah.
cool.
The characters. I mean, all of
Yeah.
it's not really a
You know,
surprise.
they
I
were
don't
cool,
think.
and all me and Horsey were trying to do when we got into mountain biking was be like them. That's all we wanted.
Really?
Oh
Interesting.
God, yeah. We just wanted to be like we already knew Rob from motorbike trials because me, Horsey, and Rob are from motorcycle trials, and that's probably still where all of our hearts are. Horsey rides motorcycle trials all the time, but obviously I don't, and Rob still does, but. That's what we all wanted to be good at, and we all failed. And we went to mountain biking, and that was probably just because we're in the wrong part of the country to have had the terrain to be good on motorbikes. You need to probably ride up north somewhere and live on it.
Yeah.
Live on it, and I couldn't do that. But yeah, we sort of come to it from this weird sport, and then Rob just was brilliant because his motorbike trials skills just made him mega quick, and he was amazing. And then there was just that cool generation of all the guys from Shrewsbury and Sheffield and that just being cool. You know, they just had cool accents and they were flippant about everything, and just like it was easy. And yeah, we just wanted to be like, me and Ozzy were just like, we want to ride, we want to be professional, and we threw the comp side of it away.
Yeah.
I and sometimes I regret that and not regret it.
So
at the
you
same
did
time.
compete for a long time. At what
Yeah.
point did it, like, how did it work out then? You competed for ages and then it blew up, or you did it alongside?
Oh no, we started on comps. We started on 20-inch bike trials, and then we both were like the British team for that. Went out and competed internationally, and then we basically just went along to a mountain bike event and just were like, oh, everyone here's shit. Like everyone at trials was rubbish. They were like literally rubbish. We're like, oh, okay, we'll do that then. And we went and we started doing it, and everyone else continued to be shit, and we were like better just because we'd been doing proper bike trials. You know, it was like really hard, and we were shit at that compared to the best guys. We were not the best guys. And then mountain bike trials kicked off, sort of in the trials world as well. And then it really suited us style, and I won a world championship just as I got onto Volvo, and then it was just luck, man. It all just cards.
Oh, it's luck.
No, I mean timing. You know, lucky timing. You know, it all just clicked together. But then I'd had some results to back it up. Horsey was riding really well as well. He hadn't necessarily got the same results, but he was very, very good. And we just went, well, you're not going to be famous in mountain biking with results. Like, nobody cares. And I had the results to go, oh, well, we've got them then. Fuck it, whatever. We've got a British titles and world title of sorts. Yeah. Because there's the trials is weird. There's a few different world titles. But I could say I was a world champion. Yep. So we were just like, that's that done. Let's go. Let's do what the downhillers are doing, because they're doing well and it looks amazing fun.
So what
and we
was
just threw the comp stuff away. We still kept going, but in trials we were just like the guys who turn up and go, they do not give a fuck.
Yeah.
And we turn up and we get hammered, and I mean, I've got terrible stories. We were awful. Awful. If our sponsors had known at the time, we'd have got fired.
Really?
Yeah, we'd go to events and be like, nah, I can't bother. Really? Yeah, just sit there in our fancy cars and have incredibly expensive bikes laid on the floor, and we'd be eating like, I don't know, ravioli out of a tin. Going, yeah, we couldn't be bothered. We got drunk last night. We're not doing it. It was stupid.
But what did it look like? What did it look like not doing that? So when you say we wanted to be famous or whatever, what did it look like not looking like that?
Well, I guess all the trials guys, like the only thing we had to look at is it was like we stay in trials. I was riding really well in the comp scene. I was one of the better mountain bike riders, and I just saw, like, you know, there was a guy there who had 10 world titles, but wasn't sponsored, and you're well, what's it going to do for me? And my dream was always to be a professional motorcycle trials rider, and I was never going to be that, ever. I was nowhere near good enough. So when we come at mountain biking and saw professional mountain bikers, me and Ozzy were like, you know, twins, and we were just like, man, we could. You never know, it could work. And we worked really hard to try and make that happen. And there was a bit where it looked like it wouldn't, and then it all just, like I said, timing, weird, lucky timing made it happen. We met Steve Bear at that first mountain bike event, and he was like, hey, can I take some pictures of you? And then you're in a magazine, and you're like, what? And then off it went. It's as silly as it sounds. It's as like unlikely as you could imagine. It really is. And it just was
What
what
was
it was.
that early trial scene like? I don't know anything about it at all.
Which one? The
Like
one we were in? Or
yeah,
the
like what did you first see about bicycle trials? Or
Well, I just love motorcycle trials, and I went to a motorbike event and saw someone doing it. It was like the best British guy at the time.
right, what, like a demo?
Yeah,
almost
like a
thing?
demo,
Oh,
and it was just like, oh my god, that guy's so good. Like,
Right.
because I was, I just couldn't believe how good he was, and the bike was amazing, and I was like, oh, I want a bit of that. I want to try
What
and do
sort of
that.
bikes were they riding then?
Monty's, that
Monty's.
was the Monty, a Monty with a big fat tire at the back, and it just
yeah.
looked incredible. And I just wanted one of them because that looked a bit like my motorbike, but I could, Dad couldn't say I'm not allowed to ride it because it's too noisy. So that's what I'll do when I'm not allowed to ride a motorbike. And it was mental, it's just so, I just loved it. And then that just made mine and Martin's level very high compared to what was going on at like mountain bike events and what they were calling trials.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because, actually, it's unfair to say they were shit, because they weren't shit. What they were mountain bikers, and back then mountain biking, you did everything. So they were really good cross-country riders,
Right.
really decent downhill riders, and they had to do trials.
Yeah.
So it was just a bit they had to do, but they didn't have to be like bike trial level, like BIU, Spanish Federation bike trial level. They wouldn't even recognise how to get into the sections. They were so hard, and still are. You look at UCI trials now. It's you look at it and go, what? How is that impossible? And unless you're doing it, it isn't possible. So they were just. We thought it was funny because we literally saw the sections at a mountain bike trial. And we thought it was like for the kids. We were like, oh, they do trials for the kids. And then later on, like the top pros are like lining up at the start of the section, getting all pumped up. And we were like, can I borrow your bike? We literally borrowed bikes off of spectators. And literally was like, can I literally borrow that Marin there? And he was like, yeah, what are you going to ride through that on it? I was like, yeah. Apparently they give you like a prize at the end. And it was that as stupid as that.
Wow.
It's just weird timing, isn't it? And that was it. That was at Farnborough over at the MED ground.
Was it really?
Yeah, that's where we used to ride there on motorbike trials all the time. So like, how far is that from here? Not far at all.
No, not far at all, no.
Yeah.
Just down the road.
Like Caesar's Camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's fun and BMX track used to be as well.
Although we used to call it something else. Didn't used to call it Caesar's Camp. For motorbike trials, they used to call it Slab Common or something like that.
Yeah.
It's the same place.
Yeah.
Weird. It's just sand.
Yeah.
It's just, and on motorbikes, it was on a motorbike it's shit, but on a motorbike that place is bricks. It's just like it's just flat out like a big banks. And
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I once talked to the army about jumping out of a Chinook there.
That's a bad idea.
Such a bad idea.
You'd have to be really high.
Yeah, we found the landing and everything. We scoped it out, and then they realised the downforce from the. So we were right about,
and then Chinook as well.
Yeah,
so
we were gonna
double
do it.
downforce.
Yeah,
We just power drive you into the floor.
yeah, it would have just terminal velocity'd us into the. That was me and Sam Reynolds.
Oh my
That
God,
was. That
that's
would have been good.
brilliant.
Wow.
Right,
Sam Reynolds, he's a lunatic. That guy.
he is. I've got. I think I've got proof that you're a legend in my head. I just thought. of it.
You went,
But we're going to find out after
Yeah.
the break.
Are we doing a break?
Oh, no.
We're doing a
I
break.
love it when you do a break.
Our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it literally every single day.
Same. I drink it literally every day as well.
And I have since they've become a sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, man. And some
And
say...
a bit before.
Yeah, a little bit before as well. We did a little bit of a test, didn't we?
Yeah.
Some people have said that the podcast wouldn't be what it is without us being optimized, nutritionally sound, and just genuinely feeling better.
Dude,
But
absolutely.
I think that's probably true.
I tell you the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have all of these little pots and little boxes and powders and all of these different little vitamins and minerals and stuff and supplements.
Yeah.
I would take, and it would take me ages to get them all out of their little twisty bottles and their pipettes and their little tiny things.
Like Pac-Man in the kitchen.
And every day I had to do that.
Yeah, it's too much, man.
Dude, it's too much. Now I get up, I have my AG1.
Super easy as well, isn't it? Whether you're using a scoop out of the tin or you're using a travel pack. Shall I do a quick AG1 just to show you how easy it is?
Show how easy it is to cover all your nutritional bases, dude.
Okay. Here we go.
This is when it starts getting really good for audio listeners, isn't it? Because
really good for audio listeners.
Shall I explain what you're doing?
Yes, please.
Davey's just taken one of the travel packs, which we'll get more onto later on. He's tipping it actually not even into his shaker. He's just doing it into a glass because he doesn't even have his shaker with him because he used it at home this morning. So he's now, he's just, this is a remix, dude. This is a remix.
Okay.
Can you explain the remix?
Yeah, okay. Some people choose to use water. Tap water is absolutely fine. Just some of that. We got some of that. You know, you can pour a little bit of water in there like this.
Yeah, okay. He's pouring the water. Yeah, he's pouring
What I like to do, though, Ollie, is I like to use coconut water. It's ever so tasty, and it's even better if it has a yellow sticker on it.
There you go.
So I'm going to put some coconut water into this.
Right. I'm going to go through some facts whilst you're mixing that up. AG1 replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple, drinkable habit. Science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food source nutrients. AG1 is raising the standard for quality in the supplement category. It helps you build your health foundation first, and you probably can hear Davey stirring that up right now.
Yeah, it's stirred, mate. It's ready to go, and that's it. It's as simple as that, dude. You literally put your packet in, or your scoop, a little bit of water or coconut water if you choose to, and then you know you're going to be nutritionally sound throughout the day. Okay, I'm just gonna have a quick swig.
Have a swig.
All right.
Can you hear him? He's enjoying it. In case you're not watching, he is enjoying it. Covering his nutritional basis for the day literally couldn't be easier, which is why Davey trusts AG1. Isn't that right?
That's correct, dude. So, if a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D or vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase.
Pretty good.
Go to drinkag1.com/ride companion. That is
drinkag1.com/ride companion.
Okay, that's drinkag1.com/ride companion. And right there, you will find out how to get your free travel packs, free vitamin D, delivered to your door, nutritionally sound, ready to be optimized, ready to kick ass in the world. It's as easy as that. All the details are in the show description. So what are you waiting for? Support the podcast and get involved.
All right. Thanks, AG1.
Thanks, AG1.
What an advert! Amazing.
It's so on point. It's too good.
Oh my god, that was
professionals
good.
are in the house.
Oh
You
my
really
god, that was
It's
good.
true.
And you guys put that together yourself. That's
Yeah,
unreal.
Yeah, we
So
we
good.
did all that.
I mean,
Yeah, there is no big
I'm
deal.
in. I'm in on that.
You'd buy it.
What did I just buy?
I'm a real mud god.
Sounds pretty good.
Secondhand.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll have some of that. Yeah, it's good though. Good ad. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks.
Yeah,
dude.
off camera we were just talking about the metaverse.
Please.
Yeah,
Oh.
tell me about this.
Well, I
that's
don't
just been
like.
released.
I don't like Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay.
Right?
Why?
He's just kind of weird, right? But until I saw this, I mean, I say I don't like. I like anyone. I'm very contrary.
Yeah.
Nothing that comes out of my mouth is actually.
So you don't like Mark Zuckerberg, but you do like him, really?
Yeah, I don't. When I say I don't like him, I feel like he's a strange character.
Yeah, I think you got to be.
He's kooky.
Yeah.
He's
He's
kooky,
odd.
right?
He is.
Right,
You've gotta
but,
be, you've
but like,
gotta
I
be.
don't think he cares what I think. But I watched this podcast yesterday, I think it was, of him and Lex Friedman, but it's in the metaverse, right? And it is insane. But you can tell Lex Friedman, and weirdly, you can tell by looking at his avatar, because that's what you're watching. He's really freaked out. He's like, this is fucking nuts.
Wow.
Because he's like, you can see him looking at Zuckerberg, like, but they're not in the same state.
So would they have to both have like
Yeah, so they're both wearing their VR
VR
things.
goggles. Okay.
Oh
Right?
no!
And
So it's all remote. They're not.
there's basically two sort of floating shoulders up torsos.
Yeah.
But they've shot it as if
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Holy, that's
It's
quite
mental,
realistic.
right?
I like the new screen we bought,
Yeah,
by
I
the
mean,
way.
the weird thing is that you can't. So they've shot it kind of Lex Friedman-like because it's in a dark room.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of
Like, accentuates
intensifies it a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can tell, obviously, as you're watching it, you're seeing it 2D. But obviously, to him, it's 3D.
Yeah.
So it's even more. And he's like, he can just, all the way through it. I mean, it's Lex Friedman. He doesn't get excited about anything.
No.
He's so straight. And
monotone.
at the end of it, he's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And this is our future, man.
Well, that you always have to be thinking about
we've
that, I
got
think,
this
like
shit.
where all this is going, especially with podcasting,
Yeah.
because it's been quite linear for a long time.
Yeah.
Audio, then video started taking over.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
right now, people want to sit, they want to watch it, they want to engage a little bit more. And I'm always thinking, like, well, what's next? What's the next thing?
Oh, I mean,
And it's probably
the scariest thing they
gotta be
say in
that.
there, and
I hate it,
Zuckerberg
though,
just
but-
flippantly mentions this, and I'm just like, that is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. He was like, oh, and imagine, we're going to be able to put our AI into one of these, and you'll be able to talk to the AI. And I'm like, what would that be? I don't know if you've been on ChatGPT or whatever and talked to it. It's the smartest thing you're ever going to meet, right? Imagine it being a person. That is what it would be like to talk to God. Someone who knows everything.
You seen Her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's
it,
going to be
really.
crazy. And that's how we're going to do that in like a year.
I think Chat
mad.
GPT is currently still just the workings of humans put together. In it, it's not like it
doesn't
all
have
of
its
it
own.
Yeah, it really terrifies me. This next.
Well, I
bit.
mean, it can make decisions for itself.
Yeah.
The
It
thing
can.
is,
It's
like
incredible.
What we see
but-
isn't what is out
I did
there,
a
is it?
I did a
don't
vid
think.
on I so wanted to talk about AI on GMBN so much. I did a video suggesting
Like,
it's only been
no.
out recently. Everyone from watching from GMBN will be like, "What was he thinking?" But basically, I did a video about how AI. Not about that. We've got to keep that on the download, dude, because that's our.
Okay.
We've got to get the IP for that yet. That might
What
be
does
our
IP stand
future.
for?
Intellectual property.
Okay,
We just
I
got to
wasn't
get.
sure. I just wanted to check.
Yeah. We need that.
Internal. No,
We're never going to make any money out of buttholes if we don't keep this quiet.
you're right. You are right. You are right. You are right. You are right.
Do buttholes
So
QR.
okay. So what was your
Please carry on with
what was your video about if it wasn't about that?
It was basically about like how AI will interrupt mountain biking in the future, how it will become part of our riding. And I think it will in 10 years, but
Okay.
I was suggesting.
So what are you foresee? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think as the adoption of headsets come in to our lives,
Riding
yeah,
around
but
with a
dude,
little-
there's too much money behind it for it not to happen. So as you're wearing a pair of glasses, when it's like that, and you can go riding on your mountain bike, but you can also get information about the ride you're on as you're doing it, and suggestions of where to go next, and maybe suggestions about how fast to go
Far
or not
off.
to go.
You
It
could,
ain't far off
do
at all.
it and look at your wrist.
Yeah,
in
but
theory,
it's
or a
gonna
screen
be
on your
it's
thing.
going to be in your glasses. It's going to be in your vision. That's where it's all going to end up. I don't know how long it's going to be, but when it does, the thing that can talk to you and speak to you at that point will be, well, it's degree level in anything you can think of. Like, imagine, that's mad. That's
is.
insane. That exists now, and Zuckerberg's just said he can give it a body. Fuck. It's crazy.
It's actually too much, though.
Isn't
Do
it?
you not? Where
Yeah,
do you,
I feel like it is too much.
I always get to the same point with it as well, and I always think if you could break everything down to just sort of formulas, then probably you would say we got enough humans, which is the worry, isn't it? If it can come up with that conclusion,
I don't think that's a worry, to be honest.
Do you
don't.
honestly not,
No,
though? Why
I
would-
don't. Because it doesn't really
it
make
only runs
sense.
on logic. Why not?
Yeah, but it doesn't really make sense. Well, because it's a large language model based on, it has to be taught. Someone could
the moment,
teach
it
it
has to be-
something different. Someone could teach it something
I think it
different,
can
but-
learn with infinite amount of. This is like turning into just sort of nonsense chat, isn't it?
No,
I feel like
I know
it
a
could
bit,
get-
man. I've done a video on it. I'm
Yeah,
probably
all right.
what you'd call an
Okay.
expert.
So
It was 10 minutes long. And it got 10,000 views.
does it not have?
I've ruined 10,000 lives. You know, it was a good video. And Joey shot it, Joey Millward, and he did an amazing job. He made me look a lot better than I am.
Good. All
So
right.
I got a shout out to Joey.
Right, real AI.
That's a terrible video. I should have kept my mouth shut.
Real
Link
AI
above.
can use all the information and make assumptions at a speed that we can't
No, but
comprehend.
it can only do it on the language model that it's been taught. So at the moment, like ChatGPT is taught up to 2002, September, on the internet, plus other stuff. But it can't tell you anything about what happened yesterday. It doesn't know.
So is it real?
But it will do. They will
Yeah.
create a language model that's literally up to date. And when it does, that's when things are going to get a little bit weird, because it could have an opinion on Russell Brand,
Yeah.
who we were taking the piss out of.
So
And that's weird, because it's not it's a brain. It's just not one we understand. And they don't know how it does it, because it does it over such a massive space of servers. It has to be so much tech to make it happen. They do sort of, obviously they know what it's doing, but they don't know how it came back to the answer. Basically, you ask something, and it just already. It's a prediction model. It just predicts what to say next based on what it knows.
It's
pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. That's the thing, and it's like
I
you
do
talk
sound
about all
like a
those.
fucking AI expert, right?
You do,
Yeah,
you do. And
we're
it's
here
crazy
with
that you're
AI
talking about AI
God.
and all this sort of stuff could happen
I
in the future.
am not this smart.
And
you are.
I
You are,
literally
you
am
are.
not.
The thing is with the AI thing, and
No, that was literally all I know. That's it.
the Zuck thing and the Lex Friedman thing is, it's like, yes, it's really advanced, it's really tech, it's really out there.
Yeah.
But they're doing the most primal thing, which is just sit and have a conversation.
Yeah, but
That's the weirdest
what
thing.
Lex Friedman's saying is like, and I mean, you think he hates doing virtual meetings.
Yeah.
And he's very experienced in doing face-to-face meetings. And he's saying, I cannot believe...
It's close.
And he says a couple of things that are really remarkable and just terrifying. One is that you could put the AI brain into a humanoid thing without building a robot, and it will be real. It will be as real as anyone else is going to be in these calls. You make your avatar, they make an AI avatar, and I can talk to you, and I can talk to it, and I will not be able to tell the difference. So that's terrifying.
Yeah.
But then he also brings up the fact about, what about being able to talk to someone who's passed? So my mum passed away in 2014. What would it mean to me to be able to have a chat with her? Because you will be able to do that. And that is that does all sorts of weird things to a
course it
human,
does, yeah.
because you can't do that, but you will be able to, and we'll have to cope with what does that mean to feel like, will I mourn properly? Will I?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy.
I've got a question.
My brain can't do it. I'm not clever enough to think about
No,
it, but
mate.
I am fascinated by it.
So in their meeting, how is it? Is it reading emotion? Is it reading expression and then putting it out, or is it reading it from the audio, or is
Yeah.
it looking at that?
I mean,
do you know what I mean?
I don't know. On the VR set they're wearing, I think it's the Meta Pro one. So it's like the expensive version of what Meta make.
Right.
And looks shit because it's Meta, and it's like, it's not like the Apple VR thing they've made, which is kind of beautiful to look at. Albeit you will look like you're flying flying a drone.
Yeah.
But I am quite excited about that, to be honest. And I will pay the
Really?
five. Oh God, yeah.
Really?
Oh my God, I'll buy that. Won't you buy that? I'll be first in the queue.
I'm really quite...
But I'm a dick. I will love
I
that.
don't like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk Lisa into let me buy one. She'll let me buy one. She'll let me buy one.
You know the one for the channel.
She
can't you?
knows.
Anyway, like, we need this.
She knows how much I'll love that. I'll be sat on my sofa just like, because amazing! I can't wait for that stuff. I love tech. I love all that shit. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know where. I don't know.
But it is terrifying. I love it,
Yeah.
and I'm terrified by it. But the Lex Friedman thing is really, it's a really good watch. It's really
I'll
amazing.
definitely check, 100%
What I was going to say is, surely it's all in the nuance, like the small things.
Yeah,
about.
that's
like,
what he's
it's
saying. He's
context
like,
as well,
he
isn't
can't get over Zuckerberg's the tiniest movements in his eyes.
Yeah.
He's like,
And
that
they're
is
telling. They're
Yeah.
the difference. You can say Martin, you're the man, or you can say Martin, you're the man, and it's
Yeah.
audio. It's the same.
Yeah.
But the second one, I was trying to do a face that was suggesting that I was meaning it sarcastically.
I just got like a super buzz both times you said it. I am the man.
Oh yeah, you love
I am
that,
the man. You're right. You're right. I am.
But I think that's because I remember there was something I heard on a podcast, which you shouldn't just repeat things that you've heard because it's bad. But
Literally what we do.
yeah, it's literally what we do.
I do what the fuck I like.
It was something about Botox,
The man.
like babies not liking Botox because they can't read the like tiny little things in.
I can see that.
Is that real?
Yeah, so if your face is just like void of small, like micro expression.
Well, it's like
I
all
can
the
never
kids
tell
now
when
that are
someone's
having-
got Botox. My wife will be like, "Look at that girl, she said Botox."
That
I'm
is
like, "How do you know
how
this?"
babies learn?
Yeah.
Like, it's the whole mask thing has been a nightmare
Yeah.
for kids
Yeah.
because they've just not seen facial
Yeah,
expressions.
and it's really small ones, and it is like
Yeah.
it's there's the ones that you notice and you think, okay, this person is thinking this, but there's also the subconscious ones that you don't even know you're analysing.
Yeah.
You don't even know that you're picking up on, like, you know, people talk about like energy, but a lot of the time it'll be just like something someone has said or the way they've said it.
Yeah.
That's the energy that you're referring to. It's like this micro.
It feels like he's really getting that. It feels like that's what
Yeah.
he's impacted by. But as you're watching it, you can, if you look at their mouths a little bit, weirdly, Lex Friedman's avatar looks way more realistic than Zuckerberg's. But I don't know if that's because Zuckerberg's just so weird. He's even weird in Avatar. Poor dude. He's
You might
just
have modded,
he's
you'd
just a
mod
bit
yours
stiff.
up, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah,
Jacked.
but that's
Yeah.
the thing though. If you start fucking with your avatar, are you really who you are? I'd want mine to just be terribly.
But we
me.
go through that now
Terribly
with social
me.
media.
Oh man.
We go through that with
no,
social
I
media,
don't.
though, don't we? Like, everyone just puts out
I've really dropped off social
Have you?
media. I go on there when I've got something to say a little bit, but I used to be when I was sort of sponsored to ride on the bike tour and stuff like that. I'd be like, they take the piss out of me, like I'm posting every day and hashtag Veto Sport and all that stuff all the time, and you know, mentioning my sponsors everywhere I could. Definitely doing a post daily. I had kind of like a few rules about my social media to give it my identity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did some tutorials at like British Cycling for the younger riders of how to be on social media. I was really into it all, and then I just, like, about 2 years ago, I was just like, I can't. It was killing me. It was making me so depressed. I just couldn't handle it.
What bit of it would make you depressed out?
Just all you fuckers can ride bikes and I can't. And you should all get fucked.
But I mean,
And that's
Replace-
how I felt. Honest to
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
it feels like that. It's the like, people will say like I'm really positive and whatever, and that, but the reality is you have to just combat just unbelievable envy, just horrible envy, and it's as horrible as you can imagine, as horrible as you'd think, and you just got to deal with it. But social media wasn't helping, so I was like, I need to do less of this, and I have done a lot less.
I think.
Yeah.
with the
I mean, there were
socials-
a few other reasons as well as part of it. But I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to be on it all the time. But I've been on it. I've been on it a bit more last year, sort of just when you've got something to talk about, or
it's
someone
like an
you want-
amp though to how you're feeling, isn't it? Social
It's
media.
Definitely.
hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
'cause
man.
Definitely.
and I can
Bloody hell.
completely see that is. Yeah, it's amplifying your sense of loss,
Yeah.
isn't it? It is
Oh
doing
God!
that.
I mean, it's just not helpful.
No, I
When
can
you
see
see
that, mate.
everyone, like, because everyone
Oh,
on
it
social
sucks
media,
to hear
like,
it.
everyone on social media is like showing their best selves anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're like in a bike, like my heart is motorcycle trials, but I have had to just look away. I can hardly watch it because and I love it. I love motorbike trials, but I can hardly bear it because I can feel it. I can still feel it. In my head, I can still I can feel the throttle. I've got the bite of the clutch. It's all still in me. I can still do it in my head, but my body can't. But so that's just not, the body bit's not something you can feel, so it doesn't really give you any feedback. But your brain is constantly like, I could do it,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's weird.
I think
It's
trials-
weird. It's a weird old process. Sometimes I feel like it's a privileged thing to have experienced, because how else would anyone know this? And if you're not going through it, you're never going to know it. So it's like a life experience that's quite remarkable, but it is fucking painful. But, you know, sometimes that's an amazing thing too, you know. You just got to take what you can from it.
I might be wrong here, and I hope this sounds not like good, right? But obviously you see people that are in chairs that do get back to doing the sport that they love doing. Trial seems to be probably the hardest one that you, because the bike doesn't have a seat. You need loads of balance. But I'm just trying to think of like motocross guys.
Yeah,
you can do still get that feeling. That,
yeah, I mean, I've thought about riding a bit of motocross actually, because obviously got quite a lot of people do it now. But obviously, Doug Henry was like such an inspiration to so many people with what he does, and he rides it so bloody well. But he is Doug Henry. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think it's quite as easy as he makes it look. But I'm absolutely sure the first thing I did when I come back after my accident is ride a motorbike, but a road motorbike.
Oh, nice.
So that was, you know, because you've got the throttle, so you know, it makes sense. That was the first thing that I did. And I thought about doing a bit of off-road, but I've joked with, I say joked, it's sort of half serious. With Dougie Lampkin and Jake Miller, those guys, Woody Hull and From Hope and that, about like adapting a trials bike so I could ride it. Yeah. Because we'd already been through the process of sort of having a clutch and a front rear brake on your left hand. So I'd sort of, with my Triumph, is
that what you had?
That was the bike. Pete Tompkins who's Crud Catcher, right? He came to visit me when I was in the hospital, and he just, when I had my accident, and we had this conversation about I could probably ride a motorbike, and he went away, bought one, and made that, and gave it to me.
Yeah, wicked.
Like, I'm not, like I don't know how much this Triumph cost, but it was nearly brand new. That's street amazing. Triple. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, and he literally just gave it to me. It was like, I just want to see you ride.
Oh, that's nice.
And it changed my trajectory after my accident, because everything I did afterwards, in terms of getting back on mountain bikes, stemmed from what I learned on that Triumph.
Wow.
So Pete Tompkins just fixed it. It was just like, I can do that. It was the one thing, it was like, well, I can do that.
Right.
You know, he's not hard up and whatever, but, you know, hard earned. And he just... I'm just going to do it.
Just made it happen, yeah.
Didn't ask me. Just
and
like,
you've continued.
He's like, here's this bike. It's got electronic legs. You press this button, the legs go up, and you ride away. And then when you come in, you press button, the legs go down, and it lands. And we went out. I rode around North Yorkshire on it with him, all on the road. And like, we'd have riders go out in front of me as I get to junctions, and they'd just be like, thumbs up. And I'd just be like, oh, through. It's mental. But it did end up being incredibly dangerous, and I had to stop riding it, because I did the hill climb at Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Right.
You know, I was like they have all sorts of things go up there, don't they? And I was like the disabled guy rides up the hill, and they were all clapping and whatever. And I was, you know, being like super chuffed with myself. But all I wanted to do was meet Valentino Rossi, because he was there in a rally car.
Right.
And he was at that event. Horsey was there too, because he was with WD-40 at the time. So we were both like, we've got to meet Valentino Rossi like that, because it's just, you know. And I got to the top of the hill. I don't know if you've ever been up there, but it's like a big roundabout, but it's sort of on a bit of a camber. Of course, my bike can only go level because it's got these legs. So I had to ride round up to the top of the roundabout and park and wait, and Rossi was coming up last, and all these famous people are coming up, Cole Fogarty, and that guy who's won the TT loads, John McGuinness, all these people, and I was like, yeah, don't give a fuck, just want to see Rossi, right? But Rossi's so famous, they were all sort of stopping a bit further down the hill from me where I couldn't go. It was the land was angled, but they're all waiting for Rossi too. Because he's that famous.
Wow.
They all want their photo of Rossi too, right? So by the time he comes up, there is 100 people around him.
Yeah.
And they're all like what we would be like, oh my God, that's... I tell you what, really weird, Casey Stoner was there. And I was like, you know Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, exactly.
But even he wanted to be near him again. I don't know, it was just like this, literally like this deity had turned up. And I thought, oh man, I'm not going to I'm sat there on my own. No one's with me, right? But there's this security guard next to me, and he was kind of guarding because there was a Formula One car come up, and he had to like kind of shield me so they knew. And it did some sick donuts. They fucking can drive them cars in a small space. You'd think they just go around big roads.
Yeah.
But he was like, I was like, oh my God, he's good. But I guess he would be, wouldn't he? Because he's a Formula One driver.
Yeah.
So loads of shit going on. He goes over and tries to get near Rossi. Whoa. And this security guard was like, did you want to meet him? And I was like, it's why I'm here, dude. You know, like, he went, he just went walking off, just pushed his way through all these people and just grabbed Valentino Rossi's arm and went, you have to come and meet this guy. And he just brought him over. And I've got this.
That is right.
Shall I send you a clip? And you can put
please.
it in this, right? I've got this clip, right? So this is me sat on my bike. It's my GoPro pointing back at me, and here he comes over, right? Does the hello mate, how are you? We do a selfie, and then he does the Rossi down the camera at my GoPro and walks off. And I was like, job done. And I nearly killed myself on that bike that day. That was the last day I rode it because I was just like, it ain't gonna get better than that, man. It's like Pete Tompkins got me to meet Valentino Rossi on a motorbike, and he thought I was pretty cool because I'd rode up the hill, and I was like, I ain't gonna improve on this.
That's so sick.
Let's draw a line on it because
That's
on the
so
way
sick.
down to the start of the hill, I'd nearly slid off the bike.
Right.
My strap had broke, and I was like, my
really?
bum started sliding off, and the only thing that was holding me on was sort of going down this track, going into a left. And I'm sliding off left, and I'm pulling on my throttle, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to go awful wrong. And I just had a glimmer of like, I'm going to die doing this. Yeah. This is going to kill me. And I was just like, I'd already started thinking, no, I've not got the bike anymore. The bike basically helped fund me into adaptive mountain biking. So it lives on in value in mountain bikes.
Yeah, yeah.
But Pete Tompkins did that just by, isn't that incredible?
Yeah,
I had so many people come and meet me in the hospital that were just. Who do you think was the first person to come to my bed and be amazing? You won't believe it. I love that guy. He was like, "Oh, it's going to be fine."
Who was it? I'm intrigued.
Warner.
Was it Warner? There you go. Yeah.
And he was like, "Fuck, dude." He had nothing good to say.
I mean, what do you say?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I see there's a guy, I don't want to get his name wrong. There's a guy I'm talking to at the moment who's just happened to him. And let me get his name up. Sorry to go on my phone while we're talking.
Okay.
No, don't.
But he's got a weird actual Instagram name, but it's not his name. How do I get to my messages? Sorry, this is not good podcasting.
No, all good.
No, it's good. Do you know what? I actually... like talking about those points in your life, do you find it hard at all or not at all?
No, I can talk about any of it.
Really, yeah.
Because
I always just feel, I feel sort of like weird. I feel like weirdly precious about talking about it. Like I don't want to go out.
Oh, mate,
no, but you know what I mean.
I haven't got. Yeah, definitely. I would also have reservations talking to anyone else.
Yeah,
but I have got no.
But I feel very comfortable with you. But I still would. I would still find there's just like a point. And
you aren't going to find it.
No, but
because I'm looking for it.
The problem is, Martin, is that it's so helpful for people to hear.
I'll get to the name in a minute. I feel bad ignoring what you're saying at the moment.
No, not at all. The guy that you're talking about.
I want to mention this guy.
Yeah, find him.
I was trying to think of the name of the guy I was talking to recently. I say recently. It was a podcast guest a while ago who had a motocross accident. I keep forgetting his name.
Yeah, there's Mark John Morris Holland.
Mark John Morris Holland.
But his name on Instagram is Disabled Dad of 3, which I think's hilarious. Not that he's a disabled dad of 3. I don't think that's hilarious. Yeah. But he's only just injured, right? Literally, like, I don't know, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, something like that. It's really early in his injury. And he's changed his Instagram name.
Already. He's already
but he's sort of like he's saying in his Instagram post and that he's like, I'm disabled dad of 3, but I won't be next year. And it's just like, yeah, man, get after it. I mean, he is.
Do you feel like a responsibility to that community because you do a lot of work within it as well, like to be there? I don't see it as I
don't see it as another community at all.
Right.
I mean, like I'm chatting to him on Instagram, and that's amazing how, that's when social media is brilliant.
Yeah.
Is you can just suddenly talk to someone you've never met, but you can go, well, dude, if there's anything, because it's an awful time. I don't know the guy, but he seems really nice. He seems like he's handling it incredibly well. But you can say, oh, because some people did that for me when I had my injury. They went, well, if there's anything you need to know, and there is some awful stuff you have to find out, it's good to have someone who's experienced. It's like anything when someone who's a brilliant rider gives you some advice, you're like, oh man, that's gold. And it's the same being in a wheelchair. You have to get good at it. It's actually really difficult.
I think with injuries it's so helpful, and obviously I have no experience to that level, but like even injuries I've had, when you can talk to someone else who's just gone through it, so I can only imagine something like that. We've all really helps.
We've all had the knocks. See, that's what I think about not seeing it as another community. And we were talking about this in Whistler a little bit. Is I feel like we miss a trick in mountain biking, and I sort of get when we're talking about racing. I've heard you guys talking about racing, is about how these guys are risking their lives. It's like, everyone who gets on a mountain bike's really risking their lives. They're not doing something amazing. They're just fast, right? But they're not risking their life any more than anyone else, because we all go out chasing to be better. We all want that moment of what it felt like jumping off the first curb again. It gets more and more dangerous to get that again. And you can't get it. Like, you think of one of the big jumps that amazed you when you were a kid.
Totally.
You aren't going to get that feeling again unless you jump something very big now. You're chasing it forever. And Mark, disabled down a free, right? He's just a regular mountain biker. He went out mountain biking, and his life is proper fucked. Like, he's like, everything's different now. But we're all the same, and I feel like we're missing a trick to look out for each other, because the thing I really don't like seeing, and I haven't seen it that much, but it could happen and has happened, is that when a rider has an injury and then we lose them, they're not us anymore. Like, what we should be doing as a community is making sure that the one thing they don't have to worry about is getting back on a bike, because we can do that. Like, there's bike brands out there that people can ride when they've got an injury. And the one thing this guy, Mark, shouldn't be worrying about is, how am I going to get back out and doing the thing I love? Because weirdly, the one thing you think about when you've hurt yourself mountain biking is, how am I going to get back mountain biking? It's like, dude, you just fucking killed yourself doing it. But you don't want it taken away. You want to get back on a bike. And as a community, we could all just be like, well, that's us. We're all that person. We're one awful moment away from being that person. And we could quite easily make sure that's not something to think about. And that would not be just helping those people. You could be helping yourself, unfortunately, because it could be any of us. It really can. Like, Paul Baz did that film, Any One of Us, it's called. Literally, that's true. You don't have to be good on a mountain bike to break your back doing it. And we could solve that. And I've often thought about, like, is there a way to have like a foundation that's just like, that's the one thing we fix. Like, we've got enough brands behind this foundation and enough funds coming in and enough merch that when someone gets hurt, the one thing we do is go, well, don't worry about the bike bit. We'll sort that out. Worry, because there's way more things to worry about when you end up in a wheelchair than riding bicycles. But weirdly, it's the bit it feels like you've changed. I'll never be me again, because we all identify through our sport, and suddenly feel like your identity has been taken away. And actually, that's not that hard a thing to fix. That's just money. That's just like, well, you need someone to buy you the right bike. But when you've just had an injury like that, trying to think about the expense of a bike is nearly impossible, because you've got the expense of, my house doesn't work anymore. I can't get in my house. Some people are like, get in my house, but once I'm in it, I can't leave it. Like, really, I can't go upstairs. To go upstairs, I'm going to need to spend 15 grand to get a lift that'll take me there. It's like 15 grand to go upstairs. It's like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
It seems a lot,
It's a lot of money.
It does.
Totally.
I like the idea, though, man. There's definitely something there. And if anyone's going to spearhead a campaign like that.
Well, I mean, I've thought about it so much. I've thought about it for a few years. I used to have a little side team to my animal team called Bike Riders United.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll bring that back because the words fit.
Perfect.
But it was, and the people on that were Steve Pete, Rob was part of it, Sam Pilgrim. Basically, it was like a way of putting lots of famous people in Mercedes Vitos. It was a sponsorship gig, but it could revolve into that, I think.
Yeah.
And I might look into that more. I mean, I don't really know how to do it. I don't know much about foundations and things like that. But
I mean, from what you just said, I thought this was literally the beginning of a foundation. I thought it was so.
No, it's just something I
It seems
think
like
about. Like it's one of those things.
It's 100% true. It could be any one of us.
It could be done, couldn't it? It could be any one of us. And what I like about it is if someone says they've had an injury, and it's like you can just say it's all right. You're a mountain biker. That isn't changing. Or if someone's got a disability and I'd like to be a mountain biker, we should be able to say, okay,
come in.
That's it. I don't want it to be any more than like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
That bit's fine because everyone in mountain biking wants you back or wants you to start. No one in mountain biking wants to, you know what I mean? Because we're nuts. We are nuts because we'll literally go to someone who's they're paralyzed from, the waist down, and we want to help them get back on a bike.
Yeah.
It's like what you should do. What you should do is go, dude, this isn't working for you. This is not your gig. But we don't.
No.
We're like, oh man, let's find. Like we all went. We went. When we were in Whistler, we all went out on them adaptive bikes.
I'm desperate to talk about. I'm absolutely.
Oh my God.
I've been trying to find a way.
Amazing is it?
Which is horrible because I'm steering it to something where I tell a story. But I was desperate to talk about how good that still stands out as one of my best days riding. In the last 10 years, that stands out as one of the best days riding. And you proper sent
it on that jump, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I heard. So he's riding these adaptive bikes.
Which are called
Bowheads. They were Bowheads. Yeah.
And we were. I'll openly admit I thought I was going to sit on it and then it was going to be like riding a 3-wheeled mini bike or something.
Yeah, but they're incredible,
dude. It is like. Can we go on to? Can we talk about this after the break? Can we do that?
Are we doing another?
Yeah, we have to do another break.
Oh, I can't
we got to
wait.
keep the lights on.
Oh, I love the.
I'm really excited.
I love the ads. What's this one about? Just give me a hint, because I. Oh my God, this is good. This is going to be good.
This is going to be good. This isn't even our first unboxing, but I'm really excited to do an unboxing.
Oh, I love an unboxing, mate.
Because where we currently are, I don't know if you realise, we are inside the internet.
Yep, we are inside the internet. Very true. Yeah.
And we're going to do unboxing. And am I going to do ASMR noises?
You could do, yeah. Do you want
to
soundtrack it if you want?
Yeah, because then for people that just listen, there'll be at least some like interest whilst you're unboxing it.
Okay.
A bit. Or we could move the box
close to the mic.
It's a box that really gives away what's in it, right? How would you describe the box?
If I were to describe that box, it would be a sustainable cardboard shoebox.
Yeah.
Thank you for the prompt there. Yeah. I was trying to think of a thing, but it's a shoebox.
And also, we've got a clue behind us.
Yes, there is a clue behind us as to what is in the shoebox.
So in a way, I've already ruined the unboxing.
So this is what the internet loves. It's like little teasers, and then like, oh, they've gone on another, and then you come back.
Yeah. Oh, they said shoe because they're not. It's not exactly the same as that one there.
No, it's not exactly the same as that one there.
Honestly, why on earth would we put a shoe in a fish tank? Find out more towards the end of this ad break. Right, should we do it?
Now we're going to bring it.
See, this is really
back.
Good. This is really good.
It's actually really good.
Right, so you get that sustainable box, and why don't you start unwrapping it, and I'll start doing noises.
Okay.
Maybe.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good. Unboxing, dude. Okay. Some of them might be realistic, my noises, but
some aren't.
Oh, it smells nice in here all of a sudden, doesn't it? Doesn't it smell sustainable in here? And I don't mean that in that way. Yeah. Look at that. Crinkly, crinkle, 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 crinkle. Okay, Davey's just reaching in. I don't know what noises to make, dude. I'm giving up. Let's just get them out. There they are.
Dude, I'm stoked that we have got Adidas 510 GORE-TEX back supporting the podcast.
So this is the Trailcross GTX, right?
It is indeed, mate. It is indeed. And it's probably the best time to talk about the shoe, especially living here in the UK and in Europe, right?
Yeah.
It's coming into wet season, and there's one thing I hate about wet season.
Oh, man.
It's them damp feet.
Yeah.
Those damp feet will ruin a ride, mate, won't they?
Absolutely.
They'll ruin a week.
Hey, dude, what? Do you mean damp feet like the one behind us in the fish tank?
Yeah. But
wrong.
Wrong, exactly, because it's not. And why is it not damp?
It's not damp because it's GORE-TEX. That's
Exactly.
right. It is the 510 Trailcross GTX. And that is completely waterproof. In fact, we've made it so we've actually proved it so well that we have peanut, like the driest snack you can have is probably it's either crackers or peanuts.
Yeah.
And we've currently got peanuts inside this that we just snack on, and they haven't got one bit damp, have they? Even if you go right to the bottom of the shoe,
no,
they haven't got
just
one bit
dust
damp
down there.
Yeah, it's dusty
It's
in that shoe.
Utah dusty.
It is like rampage dust.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
Mate. Yeah. So hyped. I'm really excited. We're going to be doing more with this shoe in upcoming episodes. We're going to go do a first ride, aren't we? We're going to go take them out for a spin. We're going to take a bit more of a deep dive into the features of the shoe.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing loads, and these shoes are going to sit here for a while.
We'll see if those peanuts get wet.
And then we're going to have some peanuts.
Yeah.
Maybe for Christmas?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll have Christmas
let's have
peanut.
Okay, yeah, it's quite seasonal, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to read some stuff about it.
Okay. Please.
Because there's a laptop down here with a load of stuff about it, and I think that the laptop will do a better job than us.
Definitely does a better job than
right,
us.
if you ride in all conditions, the new Trailcross GTX is the best flat pedal footwear choice on the market. The ankle height shoe has a waterproof, breathable upper that renders cold, damp feet a thing of the past. A flexible neoprene hook and loop closure ensures that no debris, water, or snow sneaks down your ankles. Oh, that's nice ASMR sound.
Thank you.
The GORE-TEX membrane keeps moisture out while preventing sweat buildup on the inside. I mean, yeah, you're doing a great job on the inside, yeah. It's really quite the shoe.
It is really quite the shoe. I mean, if you're going to do shoes, why not do a good shoe? It makes sense to not have the best shoe.
You're not wrong about that, yeah.
Is there more?
A crew of Adidas 510 athletes put this shoe through 3 full years of R&D to make sure it was the best companion. Oh,
nice.
Crossbrand, yeah. Available for foul weather rides. 510 pro rider Darren Bearcloth, the Claw, helped test the new Trailcross GTX in his home area of Vancouver Island.
Moist.
Renowned for having high rainfall, eh?
Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure. All right, so if anyone wants to learn more about the shoe right now, head to Adidas, I guess wherever you are in the world, adidas.com, adidas.co.uk, where you can find the whole range of 510 Adidas GORE-TEX product.
That's right.
Also, one thing I was going to get you, which didn't get you, I'm sorry, because we didn't have time. Right. You can have a little number or name on them.
Can you really? You can get them custom?
Yeah, you can get them custom.
Oh, dude, I need to do that. I need to look into how you do that.
And they kept it nice and simple, just a couple of different colour options, which I think is pretty cool. So black or these nice beigey grey ones. Yeah. Brilliant.
That's right. You can find out more on social media channels, obviously wherever you get your social media, but on Instagram it's at 510_official, at Adidas Terex, or hashtag brand of the brave.
Oh, mate, enjoy the elements.
Yes.
Nice. Thanks, Adidas.
Good unboxing, Davey. I think that was the best one yet.
Yeah, I think so.
Well done, mate.
Thanks.
Shotgun right shoe.
Shotgun left.
We're back in already.
But that ad, I haven't recovered from it.
Is that all right?
We're in shock after the ad break. It was so good.
It was really good. It was really good.
Come back down to reality after that one.
You should get these guys to sponsor you.
Hey,
I should try.
Liquid Death.
Hydration's important. I tell you what, that day riding the Bowheads really blew my mind.
Amazing fun.
And when you, something you said earlier about not riding, like it is riding.
Oh, it's an insane form of riding. I mean, it's
not trials.
It's not. It's a different type of bike riding, but it is very much bike riding. It's an incredible experience for anybody.
Yeah.
Disabled or not, it's just wild.
Please explain it.
I mean, it was a proper day, right? So my day started with me thinking I was getting on some sort of trike with an engine.
Yeah,
an
it sounds
motor.
awful. It sounds awful, but it doesn't work.
Okay, so we'll put in clips, Doug, of the Bowheads, but basically they have 2 front wheels, rear wheel driven, right?
Yeah.
And a set of handlebars, and then there's a pin.
Oh right, okay.
The pin.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you sit in it and you think, right, well, this is going to be exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's a rear wheel drive trike with handlebars.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be able to just razz around. You know,
And I mean, it's quick. It's really quick.
Okay.
very
It's really
powerful,
quick, yeah.
very very powerful motors.
Like real torquey.
But the pin. So you sit in it, you think, yeah, this is mint. Then someone takes the pin out,
Yeah.
and what happens?
Well, then the articulation is free, right? So it can basically, you can articulate the wheel so you can when you're going into a left, you'll push the bars out right, and then the front wheels will lean and turn. Ooh. So the bike suddenly becomes like it'll glide, and it's really beautiful feeling. Yeah. So the bit you always miss when you're riding on an adapted bike is if it's not got that articulation, you never get to actually carve in, of course, and that is so much part of riding. Yeah. I mean, that's what I think about when I think about riding. I think about where my body weight's going and what it's doing to the bike. And on the Bowhead, it's a different experience because in some respects it's sort of opposite to what you want to do. Takes a little bit of getting used to. Yeah. Because usually you're sort of trying to get above the bars, but you're getting under them. But that almost feels like MotoGP-ish. Yeah. Because it's almost like you got to put your shoulder into the ground, and you can just get away with murder on it because you've got double front wheels, so you can just. Like
if you're good,
oversteer. You can just.
I'm not sure I agree there.
You can just oversteer into a corner. Like fuck it, it'll grip.
Dude, following Martyn was insane.
How big are the wheels?
Well, yours had 24s on the front.
Yeah, because
a 26 rear, and mine's. I've got a hand bike version of it, which I think's even better, but it's very different. Right. But it does all the articulation, but you've also got a Bosch motor that you're pushing the back wheel with.
Wow.
But basically, that's got 20-inch wheels just because the hand bike needs to clear the wheel when you're
that's why.
So it's got but you can get the one you were on with 20-inch wheels, which I quite like. But you hit a pothole into the corner and it'll pull the front wheel under, and it gets a bit wild.
So these front two wheels, they move like that, but then the back is separate to
the back's attached to you, so you're strapped in, so wherever your body goes, the back wheel goes. So if you lean in, the bike leans in, but the front wheels lean and the bars go out. It's hard to explain. Maybe if there's images you can see, but it's it's a wild bike designed by one dude, right? This guy Christian Bag in Canada, who owns Bowhead. He just come up with this idea that no one else has got near, and basically has built this brand from literally in his he's got like a underground, what does he call it? He's got like an underground engineering
bat lair.
But yeah, it's like a bat lair. But he's an unbelievable guy. I've got super love for him because he's changed adaptive riding. Yeah. And he's put people back on bikes that are incredible. There are other brands out there. I'm not just going to make it be like a big Bowhead. There's loads of brands out there that do really cool stuff, but the Bowhead's like a lot.
And you have one here in the UK?
I've got the hand bike one here.
Okay.
They made me a beautiful one like you were riding with a throttle this year that I rode in Sea Otter. Okay. But I got injured on it, so it hasn't come over to the UK yet, but that was nuts, that bike, really good. I was terrible on it, actually. I haven't ridden the throttle one for ages, and I was just all over the shop. I was trying too hard. I was trying to do the downhill, but we did downhill and dual slalom at Sea Otter. There was nearly 30 riders.
That's sick.
I was like racing Sea Otter dual slalom, and I was like, this is insane.
I saw them at the Malverns as well. See them around.
There's a couple of guys in the UK that are bloody good.
Really, yeah.
Oh, nuts. Yeah, they're just, the thing is, a lot of people end up in Bowheads.
Well,
they're nuts. Yeah. How do you think they got that?
They've been pushing the limits,
and they don't change. They don't. It's true though, man. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. When I was in hospital, I was in a ward of 25 people, and over half of them were motorcycle or bike accidents.
Really, yeah.
It's just a constant. Yeah. It's terrible.
It is.
But it's just, that is it, and it's part of what we love. Yeah. The bit you get when you get the buzz is when it didn't go wrong.
Yeah.
And then you want it again. So you're always against that edge of like, what are you doing? And if someone's not into it, they can't understand what you're doing.
Has your view of risk changed?
I've never really worried about risk, to be honest. I don't really care.
But and so it's not changed. It still doesn't.
No, because I always think like, well, I'm only ever doing things I think I can do.
Yeah.
You don't ever do any. I've never done something I thought I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not Evil Knievel.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that guy was like, I think I'll try. It's like I've never done that.
Well, when I think I've changed a bit as I've got older, and I look back. So the change is I look back and I think I didn't have a clue how that was going to go. Like first time I tried a 720 or something, you know, like it was complete like abandon. Like
yeah, see, I don't know if I'd ever done that. I don't know if I'd ever done
you're
that.
dialed. Yeah, but front flip, back flip? Surely there was a point.
Yeah,
but
I
you did it all controlled.
I used foam and stuff like that to learn. Like my back, because this isn't my first back break. I broke my back before as well, and I just didn't get paralysed. I was really lucky. I just did like skeletal damage, but I was trying to do a backflip into foam at Newport.
Well, that was
Bad
a sketchy
idea.
foam pit,
Bad
wasn't
idea,
it? Yeah. That was the only one back then, wasn't it?
Terrible.
The only foam pit.
It was about that deep. But I was bored. It was at the end of the day riding BMX with Chris Ackrig, Eddie Tongue. Basically, we were watching Eddie Tongue because he was unbelievable.
Very good,
He's still bloody unbelievable. And Horsey. And it was the end of the day and I was just bored and I wanted to go and everyone was still riding.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll do some jumps in the foam pit. And I kind of, there was like a box before the foam pit and then the foam pit. And I got a bit bucked on the box and then I went into the foam pit wrong and I was just like being daft. I just sort of sat back and went in really steep. And I thought, that's probably how you do a backflip. And no trials was backflipping then at all. None of us had any idea about that stuff. And I thought, I'll try a backflip. So I went in and just did what I did before. And I kind of did that thing that old school BMX used to do. I sort of like arched my body.
Scorpion
Flip like that. I thought that was the way to do it. And I tried that and it just went up in the air vertically and just come back down. I was like, I thought at that point I should have gone, that isn't how you do backflips. But I didn't. I thought, I've got to go faster, more. Higher. And I went back and I fucking went for it. And I got pretty much upside down, not really upside down, come down on my head and I just folded myself in half in that foam pit. And I felt my legs kind of go, like really weird, like fit almost. And I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. And Chris come over and asked me if I was all right. And I was like, yeah, like when you're sort of like, oh, I'm fine, like that. And I got out of the foam pit and I couldn't hold my shoulders up. I like had my hands in my pockets trying to hold my upper body up because basically my spine was broke. And I was just like, oh, I feel bad. I said to Horsey, I think I need to go to the hospital. This is about half an hour afterwards. So I've been wandering around trying to get...
Goodness. And it wasn't stable. It wasn't...
And Horsey was freaking out because he was like, he thought maybe I had like internal bleeding or something. Yeah. So he was freaking out. And we got in the car and he drove me to the hospital and they were like, oh, no, you've cracked your spine. And I was like, what? Oh my God. Like, this is terrifying. And loads of riders I know now have done it. But it's a scary thing to hear.
Yeah.
Like, Sam's done it loads. I think he's done it a couple of times. Chris Smith's done it like twice. Basically, it's like fuck up your vertebrae.
But it's close always. That's a family member of mine had a speedway crash, broke his back, and I always seem to hear that same thing. It's like you were millimeters.
Yeah, that's the nurse said to me. She was like, "Don't get up.
Yeah,
you were
close."
It was like, "Don't keep moving around," because it was still going on. And I was like, "Oh my God!" And I basically had about 6 months. No, not as long as that. Maybe about 4 months of just like waiting for it to heal. And then I got back riding. And then we went to one of the bike shows and it was the one where all of the BMX stars were there. I was just fucking, it was amazing. Mirror was there.
Yeah, I remember that one. Watching it, obviously.
And
Scotty
Cramner.
He was doing the fronties then, wasn't he? He was like the first person to do like...
And the vert was just incredible. Yeah, and I was chatting to Simon Tabron, which I was stoked on because I loved Simon Tabron. And we were chatting away, and he was like, "Oh, I heard you hurt your back." I wasn't back riding at that point. I was there, I think. I was just wandering around. And he was like, "Oh, you hurt your back on a flip," and I was like, "Yeah." And he went, "Oh, don't worry, you'll get them." And I was like, I mean, that's them BMXs for you. I was just like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to fucking try it again. Back. And then he went, dude, you have to. And I was like, what? And he was like, well, you've paid the price, but you don't own the trick. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It's just like, oh, it's undeniably true.
Yeah.
It's like, I broke my back doing backflips and I can't backflip. It's like, I can't spend the rest of my life with this bad back. Like my back's literally crooked at the top here. It's high injury as well. It's like I can't spend the rest of my life not being able to backflip.
It is right.
It's like you paid the ultimate price for it. It's been expensive.
Yeah.
So I had to go and learn backflips. And I was so this is me like, I don't do things I don't think I can't do. So I hired, there's a lake called Vobster Key, really deep lake.
A lake?
Yeah, it's a massive lake as well, right? And I was like, Well, I wasn't going back to Newport. I was like, well, how do I
Where's
learn?
the lake?
I think it's near Bath.
Oh, it's in the
somewhere
UK,
there.
okay.
How do you
It's in
even
the
go
UK.
about hiring a lake?
It's massive, right? But it's
Chuck money
where
in.
they do they've got like planes down in the bottom of it. It's super deep, and
Right,
they do deep diving in there. But basically, I was like, I need to be able to use the lake, and I need to be able to use the road into the lake for a run up. So I had to hire the lake, right? It cost me like 500 quid for the day or something. And I went there with Chopper and Robin Kitchen, and we put the bike tour ramp up that Chopper used. And I said to Chopper, like, come along and show me how to flip. And he was one of the only guys who could flip.
Yeah, and he was dialed back then. He was
that
dialed.
guy's
Yeah.
so good.
Well, I mean,
man.
he still is.
He's
dialed, yeah.
so good. Oh, we've got to talk about those guys in a minute.
Yeah.
Because you'll know what I'm talking about. Pilgrim and all those guys. We've got to talk about them.
Yeah.
But, right, so basically, I hired this lake, and Chopper tried the ramp, flipped in, because he can flip, right? And we've both got like wetsuits on. He's on his dirt jet bike in a wetsuit, and for some reason his helmet didn't have a peacock, so he looks ridiculous. And I'm there in a wetsuit, right? And I'm like not the shape of, you know what I mean, little fat belly, trial shoulder, like in my little wetsuit on my trials bike, so it doesn't go fast.
Nah.
And Chopper does a flip in, comes out of the water, and he's like, oh, it's cold. It's really cold. And I go to him, so, right, okay, so what do I do? And he went, you just go for it.
That was what he could bring to
And
the
I was
table.
like, what that? Well, that's the lesson.
for it.
And he was like, yeah, you just go up the ramp and just go for
Could
it.
have put that in email shop.
And I was like,
put that
dude,
in
you've got
email.
to tell me more than that. And he was like, oh, I don't know, you just... And he was like, you've got your wetsuit on. And I was like, oh, brilliant. And I did my first actual backflip to tyres, essentially hitting the water with the tyres, was about a 40-foot back. I went so fast. I just
really?
went
Yeah.
down this hill just like that. And I'd thought about it so much in my injury time that I'd kind of worked out in my head how to do it.
Yeah.
And it worked first go pretty much. I
Really?
went slightly front wheel first go, but it was massive. Like, on a trials bike as well. It had this rolling hill in, so I had speeds that you've got no right to get on a trials bike. You know, great big long stem on it, and just went, whoa, massive flip. And then I was like, right, now I can backflip, but there's no way I'm ever going to do a 40-foot backflip on a trial. So I had to shrink it. I had to like learn it real and shrink it down, because what I decided was like, right, I need to be able to do it on the show, else I'm never going to be happy.
Yeah.
I knew what I had to do, and then I basically had to go back to Newport, knowing I could now do it, and do
same
it
pit.
exactly the same. And I was like, I've just got to do it. But I knew I could do it.
God, that's really
it was
really
horrible.
hard. That is.
And
That's
because it's
proper,
indoors, it felt like the next minute.
Yeah.
It just felt like, you know, the bloody music they used to play in there, bloody hard rock was
Yeah.
playing. I was like,
It's got that Vegas
Has
light.
any
They don't want to
time-
let you know what the time is outside.
has
It's just
any time
so-
gone by? And I was just sat there thinking, oh, fuck, what if I do it again? What an idiot I'd
So
be.
you got it dialed though.
I did it like, I'd learned it in the lake. I did about 30 into that lake.
40
just
footers.
just just getting used to it. And I had a couple go wrong, so that was good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, part of hiring the lake meant we had our own diver in the water. And he just swam about all day. Yeah.
What else do you hire the lake for? Just a bit of a side.
No, it's like a diving lake. You go there diving. It's like a thing.
But you're hiring it to go diving.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
but you wouldn't
But then they
normally
chuck in a
hire
diver, or
You
what?
wouldn't hire, no, but you wouldn't you normally hire the lake. You just
Okay.
go there and dive in the lake. But
Okay.
because I had to have the road,
Yeah,
in,
understood.
needed the
Understood.
whole-
I was
Yeah,
makes
I was
sense,
all they
yeah.
could have that day, so I had to basically pay for the lake that day.
Yeah.
But
That's
they gave
so
me a
good.
diver in the water in case anything went wrong, because obviously
Well, that's
it was
really, it's a
very
really
deep.
cool story to have a flip.
Stupid.
No, it's
So
cool.
stupid. But I went into Newport, did it, then I did it on the box at Newport for real, and I learnt it, and I could land it literally on the lip. I learnt it so I could go on my trials bike so slow, and I could flip to the lip of the ramp. I even did it once to fake you back into the ramp, but that was that sort of accident. I landed back wheel and went, "Ooh," and I was like, whoa, I just did it's like, no, Dennis McCoy could do them on call. You just did it by accident. It's not the same.
By accident, it's a good accident.
But,
Still.
I did one to
Someone like a-
manual by accident as well, so I can do them to manual. But yeah, and then I used to use it I used it in every show. I'd flip in the most ridiculous places, like in shopping centres with a 10-foot run up, and I'd just be like, just throw them anywhere. It's brilliant.
That's
It's like that's all Simon Tabron just being a fucking badass.
That's pretty cool.
Because
You
those
paid for
guys,
it,
like,
and then you-
yeah, but that's how they lived,
Yeah.
and they didn't use foam. They were doing a sport where the only way to do it was do it, because there wasn't a resi vert ramp then. There was versions of it, but not like there is now at Woodward. And those guys would be like, I remember Tabron talking about being a vert rider and him referring to it being like a gladiator. And I was like, they are actually like, they are going to have to pay an injury time for every trick they learn.
Yeah.
And they learn 900s and flares. They learnt flares, like original flare didn't look like a flare now. It looked like a backflip, and then you do try and 180.
Right, so
Hoffman's first flare was like backflip,
And then
180.
go, wow.
Not corked like that makes sense. He was just like, I do a backflip and then go, I'm facing the wrong way.
what is it about seeing
Insane.
something that makes it easier after it's been done?
Don't know. It's
It's
weird. isn't it?
information, isn't it? Somehow. But
Like
I
a
don't know
flare
how.
didn't exist for
Yeah.
so long, and then
Who did
someone
the
went.
first mountain bike backflip? Is there a person
it
you
was
can pin
actually
it down to?
Todd Lyons.
Yeah, it
It'll
probably
be-
was
it'll be
Todd
like,
Lyons.
Yeah, it'll be like a BMX on
Yeah.
a mountain bike.
Tabron was
Right.
flipping in like I remember going to the Bicycle Expo in like 1993,
Right,
and
yeah.
Tabron was there doing a flip on a box, and it was like the guy who was running the show. He's obviously someone really famous in BMX, but he was like the guy who ran BMX demos, and they all worked for him. I think it was something to do with one of the mags, but I remember him saying to us, we were there with Hans Ray, and he was like, when are you guys finishing? He was really arrogant. And I was like, oh, we're probably just going to go on. And he was like, you're going to stop at a time I say, because we've got the backflip.
Is that what he said?
And he
Yeah.
was like, it was just so rare to have someone who could backflip.
Yeah.
It was like, you can do what you want, but we've got the backflip. So get off the stage.
Yeah.
And it
Wow.
was Simon Tabron, what an amazing guy. If you see him, he's still riding now. Like doing through a big 540 the other day.
So impressive, that is.
Do you know, he used to write down, I don't know if he's doing 900s anymore, but he used to write down every 900 in a little book and the date he did it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's quite odd.
I don't know, mate. If you can do a 900, can you imagine doing a 900 on a vert? 14-foot ramp, just go out and go, I'm just going to fucking, I'm just going to,
Just turn right.
I'm going to cork out the top of here. Zuck!
Yeah, I
Oh
agree.
my
But
God,
then
that's
also,
terrifying.
but then when are you going to read? Are you going to read it, and what are you going to? You know what I mean? What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. I mean, I
always
think
think
it's
that.
just such. I think he just saw it as well. I think it's like what he must have had to have done to get it and to own it. And once he got it, every time it's probably a war to make yourself do it.
That's cool.
Isn't it? It's like today I'm going to do it, and it never got less. It never got like, oh yeah, I can do 900s. It was like, oh no, it's a 900. You can't think
And
about
I'm gonna
this any other
remember
way.
it.
Like twice in that trick, you'll be facing away from your landing.
Yeah.
You're back to it. Like, I hope I come back round to that.
What's your 900?
My 900.
Yeah, because you're.
I've never done.
Yeah, but
anything
you're-
that hard, man. Nothing. That's
You've
just
never
insane.
done anything hard.
No, that hard. I mean, I've done things that
Okay.
are hard for me to do, but those guys are gods to me. Like Jamie Bestwick, right, is still by far the best vert rider in the world. He's 50 years old.
Yeah, that's very
There's
impressive.
no
Wow,
one
they're
who,
doing it.
there's
Yeah.
no one, because it's so hard and it's sort of gone out of fashion.
He's the Tony Hawk.
No one can ride a vert ramp like that guy.
Yeah.
He literally could slay X Games vert now.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
And he's
isn't it?
just not, because he just can't be bothered to do it anymore. So how many? And then he coached gold medals at the Olympics.
Yeah.
The coaches at the Olympics, the last Olympics. No, the last one where the British girl won. What's her name?
It'll come to me from
Yeah, fucking had that amazing run. He coached her.
Yeah,
The American coach was Ryan Nyquist.
It was, yeah.
They were better than anyone in their team. The coaches were better than the riders. That's insane. Like Bestwick was like, I mean, I'll do it, but I'm kind of bored of it. So why don't I tell you how to do it, and you'll win, because I'm that good. So stupid. And America were the same. They're like, we'll probably win. It was like, well, who's your coach? Well, it was Ryan Nyquist. Okay, yeah, you might win too. And he was also like, I'm not doing it. I've done this loads. Why don't you do it? How many? Like they're like, you'll get a gold medal. It's like, Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, I know.
I've had a lot of them.
The cabinet's full.
Like, I wonder how many
just-
gold medals Nyquist and Bestwick have got between them.
Yeah.
Unreal.
A lot.
Hell of a lot.
Talking about Vert just makes me sad because I think of Dave Mirra. It just makes
Yeah,
me
it's
sad.
tough, innit?
That is sad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Dave Mirra.
Yeah.
Eyes on Dave Mirra, people. I always think that about Prince. Eyes on Prince, please. It was Prince. How did he die in a lift in his own house? It's like it's fucking Prince. Someone keep an eye on Prince.
Yeah.
The world can't. Now we're not as. The Earth's not as good.
different.
Because Prince isn't around.
Yeah.
All the number ones you've ever liked, Prince wrote them.
It's actually true.
They were
isn't
the
it? It's
songs he
mad
didn't
to
want.
think,
Yeah.
It is mad to think.
Yeah. No,
So many people who
Dave
died,
Mirra
and you just
thing
think,
was
how
sad.
have they died? How
Yeah.
is it? I'm saying eyes on Dave Mirra. I'm sure Dave Mirra was absolutely determined to do what he did
Yeah.
for some weird reason, and it's not because no one's eyes are on him. But
I know what
Prince
you're
died.
saying, though. I know what
Prince
you're
died
saying.
of a really useless habit. He could have just said, "We need to stop Prince taking these pills. He's making himself unwell."
Unfortunately, there's a lot of those, isn't
He's
there?
having too many of
Quite
them.
a few.
I want to say into the mic, clearly I'm not an expert on these things. Have absolutely no right
Just
talking
keep an eye
about
on
them.
him. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Like I said, I won't think that tomorrow.
No.
I'm terrible for that.
I'm still thinking about your 900, but then I was thinking,
I haven't got a 900.
no, I was thinking,
haven't.
I believe that you don't because you boys are that dialed. Like I talked to Dunk about the shows and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I just try and keep things
Yeah,
repeatable."
he's shit all that kid. He's good. He's a good rider.
Yeah.
Really precise rider. Very good.
Mm.
I like him as well. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, he's
super
cool, isn't he?
really
nice
good
guy.
dude.
Yeah. They all are. Like Danny's like annoyingly, Danny's like the nicest guy you could meet.
Yeah.
Fabio Ibner's the nicest guy you could meet.
Yeah.
They're just not weirdly, they're just not dickheads.
Do you know what?
It's
You've
cool.
got it good
We'll
in
do the dickheads
trials.
after.
Oh, trials, man.
Trials,
You guys
dude.
without trials haven't got a fucking sport, right?
Mate, trials
We're the only reason anyone knows about the
Why,
fucking thing.
why are you so professional and also dialed and clean? Is it Hansi?
Well, Hans is like, he's Elvis. That's
You're Cliff Richard.
yeah. Well, I'm one of the Cliff Richards. I'm one of the Cliff Richards.
It's so ridiculous.
There's
The
so
Cliff
many
Richard
Cliff-
thing is so ridiculous.
It's-
You're not. You're Martyn Ashton, all right? You're not Cliff Richard.
Well, I feel like I've really put myself in a bracket above where I should be because I really feel like Cliff Richard has done some great work.
I think you've also done great work.
But I do
We just-
feel like Hans. It's so easy to look back at what Hans done as a rider now. I mean, it looks kooky and it looks like it doesn't look like intelligent trials, and it doesn't look like. But at the time, no one could do that. It's just like it's evolved so far, and he was one of the top comp riders. He was not just a demo guy.
Yeah.
He was one of the top riders. He was battling Otp at Bike Trial World Champs. He was an amazing rider, and he just created this thing that has continued. And weirdly, at the time, in the early 90s, he was the most famous mountain biker in the world. He was the way the world saw our sport.
Yeah.
Like the people who don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then that continued. Trials riding is just a very easy way of marketing mountain biking because people just are blown away by it.
just
But the
relatable,
bikes
but-
they're on look like the
Yeah,
bike in their
yeah,
garage.
yeah.
And that's the bit that Hans did.
You've
If
always
you
said,
did a
like,
demo,
can- everyone can relate it to a phone box or a
Yeah.
big wall or whatever. You can.
Yeah,
all
and I
relate
think
it.
that's actually more unique to sort of street trials and what you.
Yeah.
I struggled talking to you about any of these things because you managed to talk about everyone else with such kindness and not yourself. It's so annoying.
I think
But
they're all
you,
dicks.
You have paved the way for them. You have to admit that you have because you
yeah,
boys
well,
were
yeah,
doing
I
stuff
sort of-
before.
I do, but we were deliberately copying Hans Ray. We were trying to
Okay.
do what Hans Ray. We were like watching him going that
In a
guy's-
different manner, though.
Well, we were just lucky. Like I said, our scene in the UK was pretty unique, and we were lucky to be part of that. And yeah, just the form of media was moving towards VHS videos and then DVDs. That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Trials just works that. I mean, chain spotting.
Yeah.
We went and did that video. Like they didn't want us on chain spotting. Like we weren't part of it, and me and Horsey paid to be on it.
No.
Yeah, we
you
paid
really?
to be on it. We
But
paid
you
our
were-
flights
it
to
was
go.
so important
Well,
that you-
we landed. We got there. LA was where we were filming the main bulk of the film. Going to meet Stevie Pete at his training ground with Mike King and all that. It was all about downhill and dirt jumps. And we got there, and you're at a hotel, and the downhill is like, well, I'm going to bed. Or I'm going, and we were like, oh, we're going to get our bikes out and go ride. And the cameraman was like, oh, I'll come, I'll just get my camera set up. And then suddenly he's filming, he comes back with his footage, and the director, Chris Brown, I think his name was, he was like, oh my God, like, well, you just got that then. And then you're just like, trials is just so easy.
Yeah.
You can do it you could do trials in this room.
Yeah. It's the quickest way.
We could get a trials bike and have an amazing time with that table.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds sexy.
It does.
Hey.
I like it.
Here we go. Let's get the
It's true though.
Like
it's like you can make something of nothing, and I think
so
that is the
easy,
key,
yeah,
isn't it? It's
yeah.
like dirt jump bikes are that for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the same. You used to have to build and stuff.
But you
then
can
it's
just
like
in a little flat space, you can just entertain yourself endlessly with it.
And it's the quickest way that you can look at something. These simple things are the quickest way that you can look at something and go, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I think that with trials is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but that doesn't explain why all of you have had like these sort of like, you're all like action man figures. Like, I can see like Danny Mac, the silhouette of him is Danny Mac, Hans Ray, you, Martin, Dunk. Like, all of you are like
Ryan Leach a little bit to me.
Oh,
I just remember
yeah,
Ryan Leach,
yeah.
with the long blonde
he
hair.
is
Like,
the most impossibly nice person.
really, he comes across like that.
Oh my God, he is
For sure.
the nicest.
Yeah.
The nicest man you could ever
he
meet.
was
So
front
brilliant.
suspension, right?
Yeah, he had a
Front
bit. He had a
suspension.
period we had front suspension on, but his old. He did a vid called Manifesto, and the part of it was like no hops, no corrections.
That's right. Yeah.
Just no hops, no corrections. I mean, he'd try and ride like that all the time, but for the edit, he was just like, right, it doesn't get in the edit if there's a hop or correction. So it's all just like Eddie Tongue style, tight, just beautiful trials, and you're like, how the hell did he must have done everything so many times. But it's still a great video. Yeah. And I love that form of riding. You know, there's a few riders who can do that really well. But they don't necessarily get, you've got to be pretty unique to be like that Danny Mac figure who can just capture the moment in a video, then still be eloquent enough to be able to talk to all the press and the things that come with a big video that make it worthwhile the outside world sharing it too, because that's what those big videos are. You know, they're moments where our sport reaches out beyond our sphere. We know all the videos and we're watching all the videos that no one else has ever heard of, but sometimes like a video will just pop out of our sport and bring loads of people to it who would never have come across it. And Hans did that, me and Horsey did that a bit, and then Danny has done that massively.
You did that one of the biggest versions of that was Road Bike Party.
Yeah, I mean that was just like a, you know.
So what happened with that?
Such a weird. Robin Kitchen filmed it. He was a unbelievably good videographer and photographer, but we all know him from being a downhill racer for the Animal team, and he's an absolute lunatic. Oh my God, he's like one of my best friends. I love him, and he's like no one I've ever met. He's the hardest man I've ever met. I've seen him. I swear to God, this is true, right? Have you ever seen Robin's hands? They're massive. He's like he's little.
Really
his hands are massive, right? And one of his fingers, weirdly, is massiver than the rest of it. It's really odd, right? It's got like an ET finger. It's huge.
You're a ladies' man,
right? And he's so weird. But I've seen him shut a transporter door like that with his thumb, and it go shut, closed, and his thumb's in the tiny crack, and he went, opened it up like that, and went, oh God. And I was like,
just a disconnect to his own body.
It's so weird. And the next day it was destroyed. I was like, dude, you need to go to the hospital. And he was like, picking things up and stuff like that. He's like, it'll be all right. He's just the hardest man ever. But he filmed Road Bike Party. I did that with him just because I'd done a video for Bike Radar, the event, where I'd done a video where I rode to it on a road bike, because it was the first time they were going to mix road and mountain biking at an event. So I did a little video for future publishing to promote that.
It was a promo video.
And I did this video and it had got loads of attention. Yeah. And I was like, I could go fucking nuts on one of those bikes. And I like road bikes anyway. They can be beautiful. I don't love them so much these days, but at the time I really loved them. I really thought they looked gorgeous. And I was like, I could go nuts on one of those bikes. Because I just think a bike's a bike. I don't really, handlebars, brakes, wheels. Yeah. What's really to... But so other people who are into road, like especially road riders, they just don't really get that. And I just thought I'd, go nuts.
You actually didn't have a crazy amount of mods on the bike either, did you?
None. The stem was slightly different.
Yeah, because I remember asking someone like, oh yeah, but he's probably put like this and this and this on, and like the wheels. Standard. The wheels, I think, shocked me that you didn't smash. Well, maybe I
didn't smash any wheels. I had one puncture in the video where I just did loads of skids around a corner. And I basically wore through the tyre. Right. That was the only puncture I had.
Wow.
And it was easy. It was so easy. And we just kept adding things to the video because we didn't have any time pressure when it would come out. And to get a good edit, like I've learned a lot about them since, like doing that, and then after doing the next one as well, I've learned a lot about what that process is. And you've just got to give it time. If you rush it, you'll never get what you imagine. Right. And with that video, we were just so strict. There was one point where we showed someone what we'd got so far, and they were watching it, and we were just watching them, me and Robin, and we were like, they watched it, and like, that was really cool. And we were like, no, that ain't it. That is not what we're after. We're not after it's cool. Wow. We want like, what the fuck? Yeah. You know? So we we were like, right, we need to add this and that, and we just sort of started adding shit to it, but only a few things. But we had to there was a couple of things where I needed to a flip I wanted to get, and then I wanted to go somewhere crazy and just put it in a place where you don't expect it. And it was the most fun. Oh my god, it was so brilliant. I loved it.
The idea though, so your brief, what was your brief for Road Bike Party? It was to reach a bigger audience.
Well, I don't think we thought we didn't think it would do what it did. Really, but we would try. I was thinking I could get like 100,000 views. Yeah. And then I wouldn't be an idiot, because I was really worried I'm going to put it out and everyone was just going to go, "What are you? Oh my god, you sell out."
Where does it live? What channel does it live on?
It's just on my YouTube channel. I've got 2 videos on my YouTube channel. One of them's that, and one of them's behind the scenes of that. Yeah, and it's weird because the views on it.
You might be.
It's so weird. My channel's so weird. It's just got like it's just got. It's like I cannot continue.
Home runs only. This is not so sustainable.
Weird. It's just millions of views on each one. But I put it out, and it just was the wildest experience. But it's to recreate it now, you'd have to get billions of views, because it's at the time. To get a million views now, like especially because of shorts and things like that, that just get
I'll be pretty
crazy. With this. Like 1 million views is not. We've got videos on GMBN, loads of millions of views. Yeah. You can work it, and you can. But at that moment, like Danny'd had a video that had got, I think at that point had 8 million views, and it was the biggest mountain bike video in the world by miles. Yeah, by nothing was close to it. So. We weren't thinking it would do as well as that, and it ended up being very similar sort of thing, but since has gone beyond more. But I'm sure Danny's has as well.
What was it timed around?
But we were aiming for no.
I feel like it was like road was on the up. Or
road was because it was Cavendish's. It was Cavendish's bike. And it was 2012, so the Olympics, and the British cycling was absolutely firing, wasn't it?
I remember thinking these guys are not stupid.
Yeah, and it was just one of those timing things that worked really well and was, just bloody brilliant.
Still experience. Paying every month a little bit?
No, I don't get any money from it. No, the band, I signed a deal with a band because my brother's in the music industry and he helped me sign a deal with a band so I could have the music. Right. But since then, they signed a record contract, and then that record contract didn't recognise my deal, so the music gets the money off the channel. But I don't care. I got so much out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it opened other doors.
Yeah. I never made any money from it, really. I never really it was
directly
not really. No, I mean I got the next video which I did make money from, so I fucking cashed in there. but it wasn't like it was brilliant for money. It was just brilliant as an experience to be like Like we were literally number 1 on YouTube, and Adele Skyfall was number 2.
That's insane, that isn't it?
So
I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Party 2 live then? Is that on?
That's on GCN.
Right.
So I joined GCN with Road Bike Party 2. That was kind of my thing. But obviously in the middle of filming it, I had my accident. And then Simon Ware, who owned GCN and Play Sports Network, he came to the hospital literally the next day, and he was like, just don't. That's why I feel about that foundation. I had this guy who just turned up and went, just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? And he was like, well, we'll do something. I'll just make something up. It was just like that crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, he was like, I'll just come up with something. Don't worry.
Did it help a lot at the time?
Yeah. I remember I just didn't have to think about it, because I just felt like I had these people.
Yeah.
And to me, it's normal, because I'm a mountain biker, and I guess it doesn't seem that weird that Rob Warner turned up. Like, oh, you probably need to chat to some, just...
Yeah.
But these people who just get you, and they're just sort of friends by default.
Yeah.
Like... And Simon was the same. He just came along. He's not a mountain biker, but he's been in cycling and the magazines all that time. And he just came along and was like, well, all you have to worry about is this.
Yeah.
But don't for a moment think, what am I going to do with my life? Because I've got loads of ideas of things. And he's just a fucking business genius.
Yeah.
And like he was already making GCN, and he was like, I don't know, just do some of that or something. I don't know, just whatever.
Wow.
At one point I was writing Keith Flint and a friend of Simon's had a motorcycle race team called I can't remember what it's called now. But I was writing the press for them after like the Isle of Man and stuff, just sat in my hospital bed.
No way.
And like talking to Keith Flint on the phone. It was like just access to people that you shouldn't get used to. You should, and I never have. You shouldn't get used to like this privileged bit, like I know it sounds stupid, but driving here today, listening to a podcast that I'm about to go on, is ridiculous. It's a lucky break, man. You shouldn't. That's not everybody's experience. No, I know.
No, it's not,
I know.
Right. It's not. Yeah.
You must be doing something right, dude.
Yeah.
I
just don't know.
I think a lot of the time, I feel like a lot of the time it's the people you meet, man. I've just met some people in mountain biking that have and motorcycling as well, that have transformed my life, and without them, I'm nowhere. I'm just nowhere. It's these people, and they don't even think about what they're doing, but they, for some reason, pivot your life. And I could claim it all I want, but it won't be true. I'd be lying to you, and I don't want to lie to you. And that's how I think. That's what I think about it. I just feel like, you think how many people you've met that go, God, Jesus, if I hadn't met that person, where would I be?
But you have
and I've got that a lot in my life.
You have to be willing to accept that people think the same about meeting you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I really hope so. But you can't really know it. You just got to hope.
Force of nature, dude.
You got to hope it. I just hope it. Like this terrible plug, but I'm doing this tour thing.
No, it was 100%. We wanted to get.
It's a great example of. I'm going to do this thing where you go into a theatre and loads of people have bought tickets to come along, but I know just for the fact that they're there and they're mountain bikers, they're default mates.
Yeah,
I could talk to any one of them for quite a long time, weirdly in a pub, like we've known each other forever. Every single one of them. And that's what we can do as mountain bikers,
or
cyclists.
I always feel the same. I really do about this. Like people.
I can meet someone in Sainsbury's and I'm like,
definitely.
Do you ride? Oh, no, dude.
You see your t-shirt and you're just like, yeah, he'll get me.
They're dude already.
Yeah.
And then it's just default friends.
Totally.
And it's so weird. And I've lent into that my whole, since I've started probably on Animal is where I maybe became a bit more humble. Came away from the Volvo thing, maybe a bit of a big head. but the Animal bit really taught me to like how valuable and
in what way
abnormal it is to have these people who are just like...
So what, the way, the Animal bike tour, as in touring around?
Yeah, you just do a show and then afterwards you'd have affected so many people. Just like you could see it, like it's wild. And if you break a trials demo down and watch it, it's so stupid. It's like his wheel's gonna fall off, and he's gonna jump between someone's legs and not hit him in the bollocks, and like you've got Danny Mac doing something quite daft, but he's willing to sort of he's become an entertainer at that point. He's like, when I was on Volvo, I was like, I wanted to do demos. I will demo how good I am.
Right.
When I went to Animal, I was like, I am going to perform. Like I learned to perform, and I learned how there's bits of acting in it. There's bits of like, I need you to feel like I'm scared.
I thought your front wheel always just fell out.
No, bloody
Plus
front
acting.
wheel. No, bloody front. Yeah, I mean that bit obviously, but there's other bits like quite subtle bits that you think you can get good at. You can get good at making like before you start the show, you can make everyone watching think, he looks fucking up for it. Like what's about to happen? And I'm like, I learned how to do that. I didn't know how to do it, and I realised, how
would you do
really
it? I want to hear this so much.
You just start like I would. You act it out. Like, what do you feel? What do you look like when you feel like kind of pacing, a little bit like, and a little bit like when you've got someone to work with, like a Blake Sampson or a Sam Pilgrim, you start being like doing quite subtle, like it's gonna be good, dude. Let's, like, it looks like it means something real, not like we're just like it's really going little pats, little things like this means something to me. And it ends up making it mean something. Yeah. But then the competition between the two of you starts to become real. And it can literally be real 5 times a day for 80 shows a year. You can do that. And that sounds impossible, but you can do it. And you can have hundreds of people around you that many times, and there'll be at least one person in that audience that it means something profound to.
Yeah.
And to get, no doubt, and you're like, fuck, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Like I'm going to affect someone's life in this daft, stupid show. But if I make it real, if I make it like, no, I'm not going to take it seriously. I'm going to give that kid what he wants, and I'm going to sacrifice being like fucking that wasn't my best performance. Like, I'm going to be like, just give it, like give into like you're being a clown, like but let it mean what, and then it actually affects someone. And that's unbelievable. It is unreal. And I just couldn't get over doing it, and that's why I'm sat in this bloody chair, because I couldn't stop. I just loved it.
So how did it come around? It came around as Animal Bike Tour, and at that point, were you just thinking, I want to make? Was it like a money decision to do it, or was it like a?
No, I was at Volvo. I was at Volvo for 8 years, and it was like the biggest factory team. It was so factory. It was crazy.
Who was on it at that point? You?
Well, who was? Who had every? Well, Missy had left. It was Anne Caroline.
Oh, okay.
Of course, Anne Caroline, Cedric, Brian Lopes, Miles Rockwell. Just I mean, mega.
Really gnarly lineup, innit?
Yeah. What's the Australian kid? Cross country rider. Fuck, I said his name yesterday. How can I have forgotten his name? Oh man, I'm so sorry.
I struggle with that one.
The guy who won the Tour de France.
Okay, it's the dream team though.
It was the dream. It was crazy. I couldn't fucking believe I was on it. The whole time I was on it, I was like, what am I doing on this team? I just don't. But because trials is so useful for the sponsors, my work for the team was generally doing shows at places where mountain biking couldn't go. So I'd go to like golf events for Volvo and British touring cars and stuff like that, and I'd do a demo there, and they'd be able to show the other things they do on the Volvo stand. So it was so useful. And a lot of my work was with Volvo, and I started to realise, like I knew before the team knew that Volvo were pulling out. So Volvo had a meeting with me and said, we'd like to keep doing shows, but we're not renewing at the end of the following year. But they were sort of trying to build something with me that was just to do with how they could use the entertainment of it. And I loved the fact they wanted to do it, but all I thought was like, I do not want to be on this team at the end of next year, because that is going to be a very hard position. So I knew I had to leave the end of that year, because I was like, I'm going to be screwed at the end of the following year when they pull out.
Yeah.
I need to leave with some power. Like I'd like to leave this massive team for your thing. So I worked out a deal with Steve Kitchen at Animal and left in quite a hurry, because I wanted to get out before I had. You almost took that business model they helped create.
business model, would you say? And
no,
then
I
you
mean,
adapted
it was a
with
very different shape because it was bringing in dirt jumpers into the show as well, and just making it more of a bike show. And I didn't want it to be a trials demo.
Right.
And Steve Kitchen at Animal just got it. He just understood what it could do for Animal, understood where we could do it. Animal had shops all over the country.
Yeah.
It was like, let's put this in city centres and make our shop look amazing with people walking around. That team became insane. It was we just had such a rig and a setup. It cost a bloody fortune, but it was fucking
Animal
fun. And I couldn't give it up, man. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I loved it. I found what I was good at. That was what I was good at. I could do that.
What was it about it? The fact that you're making an impact on like that?
Just that it was real. It was really real. It was like it's so stupid because I watch videos of for this talk thing, I've been looking at some videos I could show on that, and I looked at some videos of like shows, and when you watch a video of it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, totally.
You have to be there because you are actually affecting these people, and they would watch the video later and go, "What the hell was I shouting about?" But you get into it. You've got a guy on the mic who's amazing, and you've got Sam Pilgrim there just like being ridiculously good. Like people couldn't believe it. Was like a firework display when you stood that close to it. He's like, what did he just do? And then it's incredible when you don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like measure how much you let them see through the show.
Yeah.
Trials guys, sometimes they'll just show so much at the start.
Right.
And you think, well, you've blown it
too early.
You've blown it. Now they're thinking, what else can you do? And you can't do more. You've got to be really,
But you have the whole crew was really good, weren't they? Because I remember doing bike shows and doing shows, and I'd be working on another stand, on like the DMR stand or something, and there'd be that time in the day where the show was on, and you could just hear like the energy would just like taper up, and like you could hear the moment that your front wheel fell out, or that when you did the can crush, or any of those.
It's all
moments.
such dumb stuff, but like and I feel like the only way it ever really worked is when we had a dirt jump rider bounce off. A trial show in the pouring rain when only you can perform and everyone else has just got to pull out is mental.
Yeah.
I heard Duncan talking about his show at Fort Bill.
Yeah.
I did exactly the same thing at Fort Bill Worlds. On the finish line, they moved my rig onto the finish line. After the race, everyone stayed, and it was hammering with rain. And I did a show. It was like, when he was saying it, I was like, that happened to me. And it was the best show.
Really?
Because everyone's like, fuck me, you're up on like tiny rails up in the sky, and they can't understand where you're getting the grip from. But as a trials rider, it's like bread and butter. You're like, I've got this. I'm nailed. My brakes are rock solid. My grip trials is all about grip. I've got it. And in the pouring rain, somehow trial shows work really well because people just fucking like think you're insane. But you couldn't be more not insane on the trials bike. You're like,
is it real autopilot like the?
That's sort of like that's where you like, especially coming motorbike trials, pouring rain and mud and shit and awful weather is like, yes, here we go. So I like, I used to love the shows.
So
they were great. Did you ever do one? You must have done one with us.
No, never did one. Never did one. I remember talking to you about.
We had Sam Reynolds on once, but Sam was almost a bit too good because he was like, and it happened with Pills as well, as he just got to a point where we were like asking him to come and help us set up the show and then ride. He was like, everywhere else I'm going, dude, they're putting me in like 5-star hotels and the course is unbelievable, and they've built, and I just come along and look at the cars, and you make me come to the bike tour and everyone has to get stuck in because it was like we wanted to create like this team. It's like we'll build it, we'll ride on it. It's like you got to put the nuts and bolts.
And you're in Croydon town centre.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard. Yeah, but he kept coming, kept doing it, and he'd be putting the banners up someday. And you'd be like fucking fuming with it. Just like it's like got Sam Pilgrim who's just won the FMB putting the banners up. Sam, get them flags down.
You've had some legends as regulars, haven't you?
Oh my god, yeah, it's so stupid.
Chop, Pilg.
Well, I mean, we had Chop, Pills, and Blake Sampson. It was like that was like our full-time run. I was like, we had Chopper when he was absolutely the man. We had Pilgrim when he was absolutely the man, and then we had Blake come in, and he was just like, he wasn't like going to win FMB, but he was an even better performer than both of those.
Yeah.
Like he really got the show. I don't think anyone got the show better than Blake.
Wow.
Me and him had we had it absolutely dialed, you know, where we were like,
Oh, God,
just,
it was so
just like
wholesome and funny.
We're gonna
and good.
nail.
It was like,
it was so wholesome's what it
Yeah,
was.
it
It was
was,
just really good, you know, a bit silly, a bit daft. We weren't taking ourselves too serious, but
Yeah.
we knew if we looked like we had enough fun, even on the days when it wasn't, it could potentially change someone who's watching's life. And I don't know, I'll never know if it did,
Oh, mate,
but I sort of
people
knew
go that
because I
reach
know
out all the
myself
time.
it might have done, you know. Yeah.
I mean, when you think of the things that you were influenced by when you're growing up, they're all very small, actually. I would imagine the same for you, like
Yeah,
in
definitely.
motorbike trials or in whatever.
Yeah.
You remember the tiniest things and like the...
I was such a geek for motorbike trials.
I was for biking.
God,
I mean, I was for biking to the point where I'd watch, like, I remember watching Pagey push his bike up the roll-in at the bike show.
Yeah.
I just thought, look how cool he looks,
Cool he
pushing
is,
his bike
yeah.
up. And then, like, all of your, like, all of the stickers. I still have rows of stickers because I want it to look like...
Volvo stickers.
Yeah, I want it to look like your bikes back then. Like everything was just... And like I'm also fully aware it's stupid. It's paint and it's little bits of plastic sticker.
I love all that shit, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had exactly the same thing with the Volvo team. Like I was riding with a guy called Libor Karras the year before I ended up on the team, and he was their US trials rider. And I remember just looking at his bike, thinking, "Oh my God, this guy is." And a year later, I'm on one, and I just from fluke and weirdness, and then you're on one. It's different. Then you're on it, and you're like, keep looking down at it, thinking, really? I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, dude, so
Good
I think we
times.
could chat forever, but
I feel like we need
We're,
Martyn Ashton part 2. We're
yeah, I
running out
think
of
we
memory
do.
card.
we are running out of memory.
Running out of tape.
Yeah, running out of VR.
I talk some bollocks, don't I?
Where can
No,
people come watch
best,
the
man.
show? That's the most important.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
the
true,
show.
yeah.
We
sorry,
are.
the talk.
It's all around the UK.
Yeah.
It's starting next week.
Does.
I cannot wait. It's going to be.
Where's it
fucking
starting?
fun.
What?
Starts in Bristol. Then we go Christchurch, and then we go to Exeter, and then I don't know anything else. But there's 18 dates.
18 dates, yeah.
And I haven't looked beyond the first few, else I'll just get freaked
You're
out.
going on tour, mate.
Mate,
Ain't
that's
it
so
weird?
cool.
Tour bus a little bit?
We've sort of got a bit of a tour bus, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really funny. That's the bit I'm looking forward to most.
Hell yeah, dude. I think
Touring around the UK
we'll put
for a
link
whole month.
in the show description, obviously, for people who can come and check it out and grab a ticket.
Speakers from the Edge.
Speakers from
That's
the
where
edge.
you go.
Speakers from the edge. Look
See
that-
you there. I can't wait.
Thank
I
you
can't
s-
wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to come
Yeah.
on to one for sure. I just need to figure out which one where I am. But yeah, I'll be
That
at the
was-
one.
If
See
you
what I
don't
can-
have a show to
Huh?
promote, will you still come on the podcast again? Because we could do with doing another one, I think. I've got
I
through
would-
none of my
no.
notes. We talked about bumholes for probably half an hour.
I would. I love your show, and I'll come on anytime. I'm very
You're the
grateful for
Really
you to have asked
appreciate
me.
it. No,
It's funny.
no, of course, mate.
Mate,
of course.
I can't believe that. Yeah. Many thanks for everything.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
thank
me.
you for everything. Honestly, for what you do for mountain biking. And
Yeah.
just
I'm
for
such a
being
legend.
yeah.
You are, dude.
I'm
You
such
can't.
a legend.
You are. Come on. You are. Just admit it.
No,
Bit.
fuck you.
All right, I'll be the legend with the enema. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you again. Really appreciate you.
Peace
Thank you
and
for
love.
watching, listening. Peace and love. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I feel a bit deflated now. I feel like it's all coming to an end. This
Aw,
episode's
doesn't have
finishing.
to.
No?
No, people can watch another clip if they want. It's down there,
That easy?
down here, somewhere. They can subscribe up there.
Is it that easy? Yeah.
Yeah. They can follow us on Instagram at the Ride Companion.
That's true.
They can follow you personally at @OW_23.
Yeah, yeah.
They can check out the website.
Oh, it'd be nice if they did,
They
actually.
can sign up to the mailing list.
So what you're saying is it just continues?
Yeah,
Oh,
And
that's all right. So the podcast just continues into real life?
yeah. We just integrate it into the real life. We're
I've had
not
an
just
idea,
podcast people.
actually.
What?
We could continue it into real life even more
Ooh.
in Mexico. Am I right?
Oh, mate, if you want to come on holiday with us, we're going to eat tacos, ride bikes in Oaxaca in December. Then head to the website to find out more information, or in the show description, there is more details.
Man, does that sound good.
Arriba.
That's it. That's your Spanish.
See.
Oh!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like and subscribe.
Peace.